New and emerging business owner, small business owner, and the Lifetime Award. Register now at gscc.org. The Chamber's annual Small Business Awards, presented by Hickory Point Bank.
The month of May is Motorcycle Safety Month, National Barbecue Month, and National Hamburger Month. Those have the guys at Just Beds all fired up for summer. This month, get sizzling hot deals on Bemco twin mattresses, just $149, and Bemco queen pillow top mattresses, only $289. Get to Just Beds for a better night's sleep. Plus, register to win Night's Action Park passes. As always, free delivery, setup, and removal. Visit the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive, Springfield. Just Beds.
Get ready for outdoor cookouts with hot deals at Menards. Check out the special buy and 5-packs of Clements Bratwurst. Just $2.89 after 11% off. Hurry, good while supplies last. Choose from assorted flavors of 16-ounce Bush's baked beans. Only $1.69 after rebate. And don't forget, a 24-pack of Sprecher Craft Root Beer 16-ounce bottles is just $15.99 after rebate. Good through June 4th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
From the Shawnee Forest to the city of Champaign and beyond, our Health Alliance members come from all over Illinois and all walks of life. But they have one thing in common. They're part of a powerful alliance that puts community first. Because Illinois isn't just their home, it's ours too. For over 40 years, Health Alliance has been covering members like their family. With more in-network providers, more personalized help, and a service team that goes the extra mile. Visit healthalliance.org/together to learn more and enroll.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 88, low around 64 tonight. Slight chance of afternoon showers tomorrow with a high near 90, low around 67. Thursday, better chance of afternoon showers with a high near 90. Friday, slight chance of afternoon showers, high near 91. And a sunny weekend. Saturday will be 92 degrees and Sunday 90 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
This is the Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week, sponsored by Barcom Security.
I'm Officer Drew Zabados, Crime Stoppers Coordinator for Sangamon and Menard counties. This week, Crime Stoppers are seeking information to assist the Springfield Police Department reference a shooting that occurred on May 18th, 2023 around 6 o'clock p.m. in the 2400 block of Taylor Avenue in Springfield, Illinois. The suspect was described as a male having a beard with gray in it, short hair, 6 foot, 130 to 140 pounds, and wearing all dark clothing. The victim suffered an apparent gunshot wound and was transported to a local hospital for treatment. The victim's injuries are being considered non-life-threatening at this time. Photos are currently not available, and Crime Stoppers need your help identifying a suspect. If you can identify the suspect, call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 217-788-8427. Submit a tip on our website, cashfortips.us, or use the P3 app. If your tip results in an arrest, you could receive a cash reward up to $2,500. Remember, Crime Stoppers only want your information, not your name.
Catch a criminal, get a reward. Crime Stoppers of Sangamon and Menard County, sponsored by the Springfield office of Barcom Security. BarcomSecurity.com. Have a secure day.
Unpunished crime. Do you wonder sometimes if you're next on a criminal's target list? It's hard to know the real answer, but it's easy to make sure that you and your family are more secure. Barcom Security protects by minimizing response times. When trouble strikes, you're backed up with a live person who takes your call 24 hours a day. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
Hats off to blood donors. Right now, when you donate blood, we'll give you a limited edition navy blue Impact Life baseball hat or a $25 gift card voucher to one of our participating businesses. Even if you try to give blood and find out you can't, we're still giving you a gift. Visit the Impact Life Donor Center today at Wabash and Chatham Road near Goodwill or on South Main Street in Decatur. Please, give what's in your heart because we are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
Hopefully you had a great Memorial Day holiday weekend and honored those who sacrificed their lives for our country. And also were able to get together with some friends and family. Those things obviously are what the holiday weekend was all about, but there's tons of other stuff that happened over the holiday weekend. including the violence in Chicago that's making national headlines, a state budget passed in the wee hours Saturday morning, and so much more. We'll tackle all of that here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. You can always call in live and local at 217-629-7970, where you can chime in on what's going on today and anything else that's on your mind. So keep that in mind. You can call in 217-629-7970. So we'll tackle the state budget that passed at like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning Saturday morning. While everybody was asleep, they went ahead and passed a more than $50 billion budget, and we'll hear some of that debate. But ultimately, they wrapped up spring session. So lawmakers going home for the summer until they come back in the fall. So the spring legislative session for the state of Illinois is over. They're not going to be passing the legislation unless they call a special session for whatever reason to come back and tackle whatever other issue they may have left on the table. But there's one issue that has been left on the table, and that is House Bill 676. Now, we talked about this not too long ago. It's a gun control omnibus bill. And if you remember, this is the bill that included a whole bunch of things. At first, the measure included not allowing people to discharge a firearm 1,000 yards from a residential area. They amended the bill in the House and removed that component, but it included other components, like changing the orders of protection policies on who can actually take the firearms from somebody who has an order of protection against them. And right now, the law is you can give it to somebody else who has a firearm owner identification card, but state legislators, they wanted to change that to make it to where only police could take those firearms, which raised a whole bunch of questions as to, these people that have got orders of protection against them. They haven't been convicted of anything, but yet, these red flag laws, it just raises concerns as to the constitutionality of restricting them and their ability to have their firearms or to, give their firearms to somebody else other than law enforcement. So that was another element in this. Also, House Bill 676 included creating a task force to look at the idea of mandating individuals have insurance for if they own a firearm. So this measure, House Bill 676, included a whole bunch of other things, including expanding a first-time offender program. If an individual gets arrested for a first-time gun offense, there's a program out there to allow them to, work towards good credit and a variety of other things. So that measure, that omnibus package, was not brought up in the state Senate, so it did not advance in the spring session. So I wanted to make sure that was out there. We do a lot of coverage of gun laws in Illinois, especially as litigation against the state's gun ban that was enacted January 10th continue ongoing. But I wanted to get you that update. House Bill 676 did not advance. It's stuck in the Senate after advancing out of the House. There was another bill that did advance both chambers, and this was several weeks ago, where it allows for the Illinois Attorney General to use deceptive practices, allegations against the gun industry, to go after them and to sue them for deceptive practices. And that's a measure that did pass both chambers and is now going to be going to the governor's desk. The other measure we talked about, House Bill 676, did not advance. So I just wanted to get that update for you. Of course, you could sound off at 217-629-7970. Something else that happened last week while we were watching what was going on at the Illinois State House, you did have a filing with the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals in the consolidated case challenging Illinois' gun and magazine ban. So I wanted to get that out for you. If you look at the docket from the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, if you recall, early in April 12th, they consolidated the Barnett v. Raoul cases, which is from the Southern District, and it's wrapped in with 3 other cases. So those were all consolidated. And if you recall, Judge Stephen McGlynn in the Southern District issued an injunction against the state from enforcing the law. But that injunction only lasted 6 days because the state went to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals and asked for an emergency stay on that injunction. So the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals took that case and wrapped it in with the case out of the Northern District of Illinois, 2 of them being the Naperville case that Robert Beavis from Law Weapons filed lawsuit, and also the case Herrera, which is challenging Cook County and Chicago's gun ban. But again, the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals May 12th, consolidated those cases. And there's an expedited briefing schedule with the hearing that's going to be June 29th in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals up in Chicago. So that was earlier this month. But last week, while we were watching what was going on at the State House, you had appellate briefs being filed, including for Robert Beavis of Law Weapons and the National Association for Gun Rights. And if you look here, they have this filing that was, again, on May 24th. So last week, while we're all watching what's going on at the State House with long night sessions, the challenge against Illinois' gun ban continues. And if you look, the appellates here, the Naperville case, just some of the outline, they've got the table of contents, which says plain text, the Second Amendment covers the banned firearms. Goes on to say an absolute ban is constitutional only if the banned weapons are not in common use. The state has the burden of showing that the banned weapons fall into the category of weapons that may be banned, and the state has failed to offer any evidence that banned arms fall into the category that arms may be banned. It goes on, so you could see the case is still very much moving forward with the briefs that are going to be filed, and over the next month, we're going to see these briefs filed by the plaintiffs in the case and the defendants, the state, and Naperville, Chicago, and so on. They're all going to be filing these briefs, and we'll go through some of them as they get filed, but all of this leading up to a June 29th hearing in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. And what's going to happen once that's heard, a lot of people waiting to see if this ban that says you cannot own or possess certain semi-automatic weapons and magazines over certain capacities unless you possess them before January 10th when the law was enacted. But there's a registry that's going to kick in between October 1st and January 1st. Is all this going to be sorted out before that deadline of January 1st, 2024 for individuals who are grandfathered in to own these quote assault weapons that are banned? Are they going to be required to register their banned firearms with the state police come January 1st, 2024. A lot of people holding out, seeing what's going to happen here with this case as that progresses. So just a few tidbits when it comes to the ongoing conversation about gun legislation and gun litigation. Again, the state house, they did not pass House Bill 676. It got to the Senate, but the Senate did not pass that. They adjourned for the summer, so they're coming back in the fall. Could they bring up House Bill 676 in the future? Quite possibly, but it's not going anywhere now. So that legislation stuck in the Senate. The litigation challenging the already enacted gun ban still very much active in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, and we'll be tracking that for you here in the next month leading up to the hearing on June 29th. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Stay tuned. We'll get to what's going on with the budget. The state actually passed a budget in the wee hours of the morning, Saturday morning. What's in it? What's not in it? What's some of the debate? Stay tuned. We'll get to all of that. But first, let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast. Today, mostly sunny with a high of 87. The low down to 64, mostly clear skies into Wednesday. Got a chance of some showers and storms with a high around 90. And then Thursday, chance of showers and storms, the high near 90. Friday, chance of showers and storms with a high of 90. And then Saturday, we're looking at sunny skies, the high of 91. Right now, it's about 60 degrees. The sun's out at 619 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Work with a team that cares about being the best part of the customer's day. Apply today at Culver's West on Wabash.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road? First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death. The next time you're on the road, do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it. Sponsored by the Illinois Broadcasters Association. Aired in cooperation with this station. Thanks to the AAA Auto Club for their financial support in the airing of this message.
Lauterbach Man here, planning my summer vacation. I use Niagara for a water slide. My roller coaster is the windy roads in the mountains. And for a bounce house, the tummy of a big old whale. But enough about my vacation. Let's talk about your vacation. I've been everywhere, man, and I would never think about hitting the road without having my superstar techs at Lauterbach Tire give my car the once-over. Why, they're so thorough, they'll give it a twice-over or thrice-over. It's like going to the doctor before you start a new exercise routine, or checking your parachute before you jump, or other things that are like preparing ahead of time. Don't go on a road trip without stopping by Lauterbach Tire first. For $25, they'll dig deep and make sure your car is good to go. Safe travels. Send me a postcard and bring me a spoon that says Kansas. Lauterbach man here at Lauterbach Tire. Drive safely and wear sunscreen now.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Marilyn Nash. I like all the people here. They all treat me nice. Like since my sister moved here, it's been better because if I want to go upstairs or if I want to argue with her, I can. You know, I mean, we're sisters, right? But yeah, I like just about everything here.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Are you more concerned about crime than you were a year ago? You're probably not alone. But this rising wave doesn't have to catch you off guard. Barcom Security is protecting more Central Illinois homes and businesses every day. Being proactive and dealing with it now will keep you and your family more secure. Make it your next call. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
If you're planning a furniture facelift, your timing couldn't be better. Hendricks Home Furnishings is moving all floor samples and warehouse overstock today. They need it all gone. So prices have been slashed to historic lows, never before seen and never to be seen again. That includes Lazy Boy. Come choose your favorites. Get it delivered fast and free during this one and only clearance blowout at the place where you can always talk to the owner. Hendricks Home Furnishings on Route 4, Verdon, and online at hendricks.tv.
Hats off to blood donors. Right now, when you donate blood, we'll give you a limited edition navy blue Impact Life baseball hat or a $25 gift card voucher to one of our participating businesses. Even if you try to give blood and find out you can't, we're still giving you a gift. Visit the Impact Life Donor Center today at Wabash and Chatham Road near Goodwill or on South Main Street in Decatur. Please, give what's in your heart because we are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Hey, Jay, can you finish that induction range installation tomorrow?
Orders have really amped up at Nate's Electric.
We need to finish installing it first in Maine. Did we hear back from the grocery chain?
It's no shock he needs electricians, like yesterday.
Smart fridge. Everybody wants one of those these days.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Your invitation to summer has arrived with 50% off everything for a limited time through Memorial Day weekend at Banana Republic Factory. Think breezy dresses, linen suiting, and more polished, sun-ready styles. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
All right, head over to WMAY.com and take today's daily poll, which asks you about the debt ceiling deal that members of Congress and the White House apparently came to over the weekend. Which side came out on top? President Biden and the Democrats, Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans, or both sides came out even? Looks like 85% of you say both sides came out even. So go vote at WMAY.com/poll. And while you're at the website, don't forget about how you can win a $75 flight rebate with Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport. All you got to do is answer a trivia question. You get it correct, you're entered to win the weekly prize. So go make that happen at WMAY.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
Well, just as was predicted, the State House passed a budget in the wee morning hours Saturday morning, and that budget does a variety of things. There's some things that were left on the cutting room floor, but top line, it's more than $50 billion. It pays for undocumented migrant health care. It does not extend the Invest in Kids pilot program that gives private tax dollars to a fund for scholarships so families can have school choice across the states. It also increases legislator pay to close to $90,000. So this was a process that unfolded over several weeks. If you recall, they were supposed to adjourn on May 19th. They came to May 19th and said it's a mechanical impossibility to pass a budget in time before they adjourned that Friday. They were going to come back on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and pass the budget. Well, they came back and they didn't have the right vehicle or I guess a deal in place to pass it by Wednesday night to allow the House to get it for 3 readings and then pass it by Friday. So ultimately, they were able to pass it in the Senate, but not without it being clear that it was indeed a partisan budget. And that was made clear not just by the votes, but also by the debate that happened. And if you look at the Senate President, Don Harmon, he laid this out on Thursday night, saying that, hey, he wishes that it was indeed a more bipartisan effort, but that was not the case. He laid out saying that, yes, we had some big spending items for health care and a whole host of other things, but it's a priority budget for the Democrats. Just did not have any Republican votes whatsoever. So here's Senate President Don Harmon with, his concerns as to not having a bipartisan budget.
This is a good process, and I'm proud of what we've done so far. I am disappointed we have not yet reached a bipartisan budget, but I renew my commitment to work with you next year, and we'll try again.
So
please vote yes.
That didn't get a bipartisan budget. He says that they're going to work together to try again next year. That's next year, not on, now when all these tax dollars are going to be ultimately appropriated one way or the other and little Republican input provided. But one thing that I think is getting under people's skin a lot, and we'll hear more about this, but it's the budget that gives taxpayer funds to increase the pay for state legislators. State legislators are queued up to get about $90,000 a year as their base, which is actually, if they're on certain committees, that's going to be more. If they have, the various leadership positions, they're going to get even more. So obviously, some people hear that legislators are going to get a pay raise, and that rubs them the wrong way, especially House Minority Leader Tony McCombie, who early Saturday morning laid out her concerns as to what's going on with this budget and why it's giving pay raises to legislators. So here is Tony McCombie late in Friday, early Saturday morning, saying that she has concerns that this is possibly not going to be constitutional when it comes out in the wash eventually.
The salary set in this budget is $89,675, and it should be $89,250. You've provided for a raise in this budget, which is not allowed under the Illinois Constitution. Under the Illinois Constitution, in Article 4, Section 11, a member shall receive a salary and allowances provided by law, but changes in the salary of a member shall not take effect during the term for which he has been elected. This raise is in direct violation of the Illinois Constitution. A raise can only take effect the next General Assembly. You have created a constitutional problem with this budget. Vote no.
So, Leader McCombie for the Republicans saying that this is a constitutional question of the pay raises that's spelled out in the budget and how it goes beyond what is in the COLA. So, we'll see if that gets challenged at all. Is this something that Republicans are going to bring a lawsuit about? We'll hear more about that. But back to the House floor where debates early Saturday morning, right before they passed the budget, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning or something. And while all you guys were asleep and getting ready for the holiday weekend, And you have House Speaker Chris Welch responding to Republicans saying that they weren't part of this process. And he laid out a pretty impassioned appeal for them to actually put some votes on the board to support the Democrats' budget.
Every single time the leader asked to meet, I met with her. But I'll tell you, one of the last times I met with her, I asked, will Republicans put votes on the board? I'm still waiting for that answer. Well, I actually found out an hour or so ago. Never got back to me. I asked, will Republicans, will at least you put the leaders on a budget? Isn't that a fair question to ask? That's a fair question to ask. Work with us and put some votes on the board. Put it on the board. Put it on the board. Don't just talk, walk with us. Walk with us. I'm proud of the process that we put in place, and we're going to continue to make better. You've never had a budget this far in advance to go through and to wrap it in a bow and to bring it out here as a prop. You've never had that much time. Rather than using it as a prop, read it. That's why we gave you the time to read it, not to wrap it up like a present and bring it to the floor as a prop.
But Republicans, and I would imagine a lot of you taxpayers out there don't see a 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning vote as being fully transparent and allowing for a complete review of a 3,000-page budget. But that's what happened. The speaker saying he's proud of the process, but stepping back, a lot of taxpayers were sleeping whenever they actually got to the substantive debate on this budget. I highly doubt that there was a lot of constituent response back and forth with lawmakers before they actually approved this budget. But they did it. They approved the budget at about 2 or 3 in the morning Saturday morning. We'll talk a little bit more about what's in it, what's not in it, some of the concerns from Republicans, so stay tuned. Coming up here with Springfield's Morning News. I also want to hear from you at 217-629-7970, your thoughts on all of this. All right, stay tuned. More to come. 6:33 now. Check of headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the 3 big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. 3 people were taken to the hospital following a stabbing in Springfield Sunday morning. One victim, a 26-year-old man, was found in the 1900 block of South 16th Street with wounds to his head and neck. A 29-year-old man and a woman arrived at the hospital from a residence on East Pine Street. The State Journal-Register reports that police believe the 2 men were in an altercation, but their investigation is continuing. If you learn to enjoy alcohol to go from restaurants during the pandemic, you may still be able to get carry-out cocktails for a while longer. The General Assembly has passed legislation to extend the practice for 5 more years. It was initially put in place to help restaurants make up for lost dine-in revenue when pandemic restrictions were in place, but supporters say people still want the convenience and restaurants still want the sales. If Governor J.B. Pritzker does not sign the bill, cocktails to go would no longer be allowed as of June 2024. A Springfield lawmaker is expressing frustration in the aftermath of his first state budget process. Republican State Representative Mike Coffey was appointed to his seat back in January. He says it's unconscionable for the legislature to approve a budget in the middle of the night on a holiday weekend, especially one that he says puts hundreds of millions of dollars towards health care for non-citizens when many Illinois residents struggle to pay for health care. Coffey also objects to legislative pay raises that are included in the spending plan. An 84-year-old woman escaped serious injury, but her home was badly damaged in a weekend fire in Springfield. Fire Chief Ed Canny Jr. says heavy flame was showing from the front of the home on North 7th Street when crews arrived Sunday morning. The elderly woman who lives there was able to get out of the house, reportedly with assistance from neighbors and a Springfield police officer who arrived on the scene. Despite indications of minor smoke inhalation, the woman declined medical treatment or transport. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Lottery fever is on the rise again as jackpots in the multi-state games continue to climb. The Powerball game is worth $226 million if a single winner matches all the numbers in Monday night's drawing. The lump sum cash option is more than $114 million before taxes. Meanwhile, the Mega Millions has grown to $187 million for its next drawing Tuesday night, with a cash option at $95 million. State officials are still struggling to move mentally ill inmates out of the Sangamon County Jail in a timely fashion. State law was recently changed to give the Illinois Department of Human Services 60 days instead of the previous 20-day limit to move inmates to an appropriate psychiatric setting. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell says this county is currently housing 11 inmates who should be transferred to a mental health facility, including 2 that have been there longer than the 60-day limit and 2 more who will reach that limit this week. The 60-day limit is not firm and can be extended if the state says it does not have beds available. Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News brought to you by Illinois Paving. It's paving season, and Illinois Paving is here to help. Call Cousin Bill today for your free estimate. Visit ilpaving.com.
Here's one thing that psychologists and therapists believe to be a key step to achieving better mental health, and it doesn't cost a thing. Spending time outside. That's right, the natural light, the wind against your skin, the sounds and fragrances of the season all work in concert to help you feel better. Now, you can't treat clinical depression and addiction with just one step. Those are more serious problems, especially with drugs and alcohol. The team of nurses, counselors, physicians, and psychologists at Gateway Foundation understand that. They know what you're going through, and they can show you the way out. Your insurance covers treatment, and the Family Medical Leave protects your job. If your situation appears hopeless, make the confidential call to Gateway at 877-505-HOPE, 877-505-HOPE, and start feeling better today. Gateway Foundation. Addiction medicine. Saving lives.
Hi, I'm Ed Lex, your Springfield Edward Jones financial advisor. There is nothing more important to me than understanding what's important to you. Only then can you and I work through our established process to build your personalized strategies and the specific actions needed to help you achieve your financial goals. I'll continue to partner with you and your family throughout your life, revisiting your goals and risk tolerance, as well as the strategies we develop to help keep you on track towards your goals. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Opening this Friday at the Muni, Edward Jones presents Fiddler on the Roof. The story centers on Tevye, a poor milkman and his family living in their tight-knit Russian Jewish community. Rich in historical and ethnic detail, Fiddler on the Roof's universal theme of tradition cuts across barriers of race, class, nationality, and religion, leaving audiences crying tears of laughter, joy, and sadness. Edward Jones presents Fiddler on the Roof, opening this Friday at the Muni. Get tickets at the box office or themuni.org.
Hi, it's Ed Lex with Edward Jones. Listen to the Business Spotlight with Edward Jones this afternoon at 5:40 on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 88, low around 64 tonight. Slight chance of afternoon showers tomorrow with a high near 90, low around 67. Thursday, better chance of afternoon showers with a high near 90. Friday, slight chance of afternoon showers, high near 91. And a sunny weekend. Saturday will be 92 degrees and Sunday 90 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Less frustration, more vacation. Book a nonstop flight from Springfield's Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport, SPI to Fort Myers, Punta Gorda at Allegiant.com and experience the sun, fun, and relaxation of Southwest Florida. Find low fares and save big by bundling at Allegiant.com. Fly from SPI and spend more time enjoying vacation. Book your flight from SPI at Allegiant.com. Fly local. Fly SPI. Take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out.
Do-it-yourself ordering kiosks now inside Head West mean getting your sub faster.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. One way of measuring the power and perhaps the resiliency of travel is to study luxury travel and the people spending the most money to get from point A to B. Virtuoso, the global consortium of luxury travel advisors, reports that their bookings for 2023 are an astounding 91% higher than 2019. And some hotel bookings are running 193% higher than 2019 as well. Another interesting fact, the number of high net worth travelers is spending more than 34% above 2019. So what does this mean to you? If you're traveling first class, expect even less availability. If you're hoping for an upgrade, good luck. Not to mention higher prices. For more information, visit petergreenberg.com. I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Designed for curious travelers, Viking offers all-inclusive voyages on all 7 continents, with no children and no casinos on board. Learn more at Viking.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Talking about Illinois having a budget plan that can be queued up for the governor now after the Illinois House passed the $50 billion plus budget bill in the early morning hours Saturday. That was after the Senate finally got the plan together in the late hours on Thursday. So that meant late Thursday, the House got it for the first reading. They had to read it on Friday, and then they carried over into Saturday morning for a third reading, and then passed the budget at 2 or 3 in the morning, Saturday morning. But flashing back to this whole conversation about are Republicans taking part in these conversations, House Republicans say that they had 0 part in the conversations crafting this new spending plan. They say that they wanted some spending cuts. They wanted to shore up a variety of other debts. They wanted to try to find some tax reductions and a variety of other things. But Republicans weren't really heard at the budgeting process. And if you recall, late last week on Thursday, when the Senate late Thursday passed the bill, here's State Senator L.G. Sims critical of Republicans who he says don't want to vote for anything.
Let's talk facts. An additional $500 million in new spending, which you talk about, this is the largest budget ever. Those dollars don't just go into Republican districts. They don't go into the Democratic districts. They go into all districts. That additional $350 million is going to go into Cairo. It's going, just like it's going to go into Des Plaines. It's going to go into Mount Vernon, just like it goes into Chicago. Or we can talk about product. We are at the table. We sat at the table in good faith. But now we are hearing about non-budget issues after all of the discussions that we had. After all of the conversations that we had and all the things we focused on to get a good, balanced budget, now we're talking about, now we can't vote for the budget because we didn't pass BIPA. I looked in Senate Bill 250. I didn't see a BIPA appropriation anywhere. We're talking about the Invest in Kids program. I looked in Senate Bill 250. I didn't see an appropriation for Invest in Kids anywhere. If you don't like the budget here, you don't like the budget there, you don't like the budget near, you don't like the budget far. You won't vote today, you won't vote tomorrow, you're not going to vote anyway. So let's be clear. This budget does reflect our priorities. It reflects our shared priorities to move our state forward.
So again, that's State Senator L.G. Sims late Thursday when they passed the budget. Critical of Republicans that don't want to vote for a budget here, don't want to vote for a budget far, so on. But I've seen some comments say it's the Democrats that don't want to budge. It's the Democrats that aren't wanting to even look at spending reductions. It's the Democrats that don't want to look at how to lower the overall tax burden to grow business in the state. It's the Democrats who have refused to have those conversations. So listen, I mean, it cuts both ways, right? Depending on who you ask, the Democrats are going to say the Republicans aren't willing to take part in these conversations. Well, Republicans say it's the Democrats that aren't willing to hear the Republicans point out the need for tax reductions. But you heard Sims there talk about how there's nothing in there about the Invest in Kids program. That's the private scholarship program that allows for private tax dollars or private dollars to go into a fund to get a tax credit. So they're private dollars. It's not taxpayer money. It's private money going into a fund where they get a tax credit so that those funds can be used to offer school choice to kids across the country, across the state rather. Because, Illinois, we don't have a robust school choice program as other states across the country do. In Illinois, we only have this small Invest in Kids scholarship program, but it's set to expire at the end of this year in the middle of the next school year unless lawmakers lift that sunset. They did not lift that sunset before they left for the summer. So could they come back in the fall and deal with that? Maybe, but if that's not until after the school year starts, then a lot of parents are going to be questioning whether or not they can actually make something happen with the Invest in Kids scholarship program. But some other things the budget does include. It does include pay raises and a lot of criticism for the pay raises for state legislators. But it also keeps certain tax increases in place. So starting July 1st, you're going to get another tax increase for your gasoline. Starting July 1st, the 1% tax on groceries is going to be restored. And there's a variety of other things that are going to be lifted. State Representative Dan Calkins reacting to this last week before they went and actually started voting on the budget. Here is Calkins talking about how, taxpayers, they're not going to be paying less in taxes. They're going to be paying more in taxes.
Well, all of the gimmicks have run out. I mean, the grocery tax, we'll get another gas tax increase July 1st. There'll be the second one this year, January 1st, and now another one in July 1st. So people of Illinois are going to pay more in taxes. That's a given. What we're waiting for I think the other shoe to drop, because there's no way that our state income is going to be able to sustain this budget or this increase, the trajectory that we're on. What was it, $36 million when we first started? Now it's $50 million, $38 million to 50?
Billion, with a B.
Billion, I'm sorry, billion. People can't put their arms around a billion, let alone 38 million. But yeah, it was $38 billion, and now it's $51 billion in 5 years, 5 budgets. This is a trajectory that we cannot support.
So again, State Representative Dan Calkins talking about the tax increases. State Representative Marty McLaughlin joining alongside Calkins, also talking about those tax increases that taxpayers are going to be hit with July 1st.
We've got about 16% to 20% inflation rate. And Milton Friedman always said it best. Inflation is caused by one thing: government overspending more than they take in. And the federal government takes in more. They create money out of thin air. They send it to Illinois, and we spent it, as Representative Calkins said. So it's not just the fact they're going to pay more. They're going to be able to buy a lot less because the value of the dollar is going down. So it's going to be a double whammy, and it's going to be incredibly painful for consumers in the state. And I think we're right. A year and a half from now, we're going to have to go back to spending levels when I got here at $39 billion 2 years ago. And if we can't figure out as a group, working together, that that's where we're going to need to go, we're going to go right back to the taxpayers with all kinds of gimmicks, progressive taxes, financial taxes in Chicago that the new mayor's talking about. Guys, we're taxed out in this state, so we better start figuring it a different way, and that actually requires spending restrictions.
But I also asked McLaughlin about the pay raises that legislators are getting in this budget and what he hears from constituents that see this type of thing advancing at the Illinois State House.
Well, we're going to all vote against them. I mean, this is ridiculous. These are part-time jobs. If you're going to make these jobs permanent, I mean, Iowa, I think, is $27,000 for the same job. Wisconsin, $51,000. Indiana, $26,000. This is ridiculous. I was a mayor for a volunteer for 8 years. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I think everybody here agrees.
What do you think?
I mean, I want to apologize to the taxpayer. I've actually gone out last year and I thanked and apologized them. And I asked, were you aware we passed a pay raise last year at 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday? They were shocked. And I don't mean to point the finger at the media, but up in my area in Chicago, they didn't mention it to anybody. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to me as a public servant because, like my friends here, we all have other jobs and other businesses, and we're trying to keep this state solvent. So it is actually an embarrassment to have this done again. It'll be done, what, at 1 or 2 in the morning tonight? Let's do it at 4 o'clock right before your news cycle. You know, that would be refreshing for me.
So Martin McLaughlin sounding off on the legislator pay raises that were included in this budget, and we'll hear more about the concerns Republicans have, especially after a recent audit of a Pritzker-operated grant program for businesses. Does that spell out good things moving forward for other programs the governors have control over, including the health care subsidies for undocumented migrants in Illinois that's already expected to cost more than $1 billion? So we'll hear a little bit about that here next on WMAY. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. You can always follow along anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. It's now 6:52 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 3, our free comfort adjustment. Most mattress retailers only give you 30 to 180 days to try their mattress. The problem with this is you may not fully adjust to your mattress in that amount of time. We offer you a free comfort adjustment during the first year of sleeping on your new mattress. So if you're not satisfied, we'll pick it up and change the feel for free. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Listen, at Verlo Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly onto you every day. So hurry in today to your local Verlo, where there are no middleman markups. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Hey, business owners, recruitment is tough, isn't it? And it doesn't seem to be getting any easier. Here's some things to remember. Your best recruit is working somewhere else right now, so they're not going to be attending job fairs or browsing classifieds. Try building a profile of your best employee. Where did they come from? Then let's talk to more of those people. And use some tools that your competitors might not be. Hint, hint. Indeed discovered that a long time ago, and they're big radio users, but it's not just radio. It's that combined with targeted digital campaigns spearheaded by local people like us, people who can visit your office or restaurant or golf course or wherever. My name's Dave Dennis. I rejoined Midwest Family a while back as an integrated marketing consultant because of the great things that can happen if you decide to talk to us. And when you do, I'll send you our newest ebook on recruitment. It's free and full of ideas on how to tackle the recruitment challenges you're facing today. Look for me at MidwestFamilySPI.com. And let's talk about your next step to business success in this changing world.
Lauterbach Man here, planning my summer vacation. I use Niagara for a water slide. My roller coaster is the windy roads in the mountains. And for a bounce house, the tummy of a big old whale. But enough about my vacation. Let's talk about your vacation. I've been everywhere, man, and I would never think about hitting the road without having my superstar techs at Lauterbach Tire give my car the once-over. Why, they're so thorough, they'll give it a twice-over or thrice-over. It's like going to the doctor before you start a new exercise routine, or checking your parachute before you jump, or other things that are like preparing ahead of time. Don't go on a road trip without stopping by Lauterbach Tire first. For $25, they'll dig deep and make sure your car is good to go. Safe travels. Send me a postcard and bring me a spoon that says Kansas. Lauterbach Man here at Lauterbach Tire. Drive safely and wear sunscreen now.
Hi there. I'm here to tell you a little about this new program called Safe to Help Illinois.
Maybe you know somebody who's being bullied, or worse, thinking about hurting themselves or others. If you don't feel safe telling an adult about the things that are happening around you, check out Safe to Help.
Safe to Help is not about snitching or getting someone in trouble. It's about helping one another out.
You can call, you can text.
You can download the free mobile app, and it's all over social media.
So what do you say? Let's give it a try.
Brought to you by IEMA.
Retiring from the workforce gives you opportunities you may have been unable to take advantage of during your working years. New passions, more time with the people you love. In fact, if you are over age 62, own a home, and have equity in it, you can extend your retirement runway by borrowing against that equity while owning your home's title. Guaranteed Rate launches Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. Unlike other equity loans, HECM is FHA insured. HECMs flip the roles of lender and borrower, where the borrower receives payments from the lender in the form of a line of credit or a simple lump sum for vacations, major purchases, gifts, or even home improvements. You'll have no more monthly mortgage payments. Find out more about home equity conversion mortgage at rate.com/HECM-mortgage. This is not a commitment to lend. For all terms and conditions, visit rate.com/HECM-mortgage.
Did you know April is National Safe Digging Month? It's the perfect time to remind everyone just how important it is to know where utility lines on your property are buried. Striking one while digging can knock out power, gas, water, the internet, or other critical services, not just to your home, but to your community. Don't be that neighbor. Visit JulieBeforeYouDig.com to have underground utility lines marked for free. Every project, every time.
JulieBeforeYouDig.com.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
So legislators going to give themselves yet another raise. If you recall, at the beginning of the year, before the flip over from the 102nd General Assembly to the 103rd General Assembly, they gave themselves a pay raise for the start of the 103rd General Assembly. But it looks like they're getting ready to give themselves another pay raise, upwards to $90,000, close to it. But then when you stack on top all the committee assignments and leadership assignments, that increases how much taxpayers are going to be paying for state legislators. But there's also part of the budget that passed in the early morning hours Saturday morning by the House after the Senate passed it last week. You have the issue of the taxpayer subsidies for undocumented migrant health care in the state of Illinois. And the governor is going to be given a substantial amount of authority to manage that program. And we heard a little bit about this last week. Go check out previous videos. But he might be able to implement, say, some cost control measures like having co-pays that the undocumented migrants have to pay. But with the governor being the one that's going to have the discretion to do this, he's going to have to craft administrative rules in all of this. Previous programs the governor created, the business interruption grants, there was an audit last week that showed there were very poor oversight and lack of controls on how that money was spent. Almost more than $500 million spent in that COVID-19 tax relief money going to businesses in Illinois. So I asked State Representative Mike Marin, that audit shows a lack of controls in this Pritzker-operated program. How does that fare for what's going to happen with the migrant health care costs? Here's what Mike Marin had to say.
I have a hard time entrusting the governor with much power to manage anything at this point, because I think the other really important part of our jobs is back in the district when we manage things like constituent issues. And ever since I've been in office, we deal with mismanagement through government agencies on a routine basis, like the mess at IDES. One of the big things that we're dealing with right now is that the State Board of Education overestimated federal funds to local after-school programs to the tune of $27 million in the next 2 fiscal years. And so that means locally in Vermilion County that our after-school programs that our disadvantaged children are counting on is going to be cut by, those programs are going to be cut by about $800,000 in the next fiscal year. 3 districts are going to have to close their programs. It's going to amount to about 50 layoffs. And so that's the kind of mismanagement that we see out of this administration on a regular basis. So when we're talking about giving him more authority to manage health care for undocumented workers, I have a lot of heartburn because he does not have a very good track record.
It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY 92.7 WMAY FM, Springfield's News and Talk.
Avoid a government default. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
The top line here is that the debt limit will actually be kind of a non-issue now until January 1st, 2025. So they didn't actually raise the dollar amount. What this deal would do is basically suspend the debt limit, say it's not there until January of 2025. So this buys pretty much 2 years for this issue to go away. Sadly, probably in 2 years, we're going to be back in this place talking about it again, and we're going to be in a situation where the debt ceiling would need to be dealt with at that point.
The measure also claws back $30 billion in COVID funding and rescinds about $20 billion of funding to the IRS. Another brutal assault on Kyiv. Explosions and gunfire across Ukraine's capital, the third attack in 24 hours. There were several drones shot down in Moscow as well. Russia blaming Ukraine for that. In Davenport, Iowa, plans are in place to demolish an apartment building that partially collapsed on Sunday. ABC's Andrew Dimbert says 9 people were rescued, but some think there could be more inside.
Rescuers pulling a woman to safety last night, more than 24 hours after a section of the building sheared away.
At this time, the building is structurally unsound.
It's believed 2 more people may still be in the building. A woman tells the Quad City Times her cousin is missing, and another family at the scene says they believe their loved one is still inside.
A crowded boardwalk packed with people for Memorial Day, gunfire erupting. 9 were shot and wounded, including a 1-year-old baby. Police say it happened in Hollywood, Florida, not far from Fort Lauderdale. This is ABC News.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Texas State...
All right, Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. Coming up, we will talk about some of the violence happening in Chicago over the weekend for that Memorial Day holiday weekend. We had some violence here in Springfield as well, so obviously a lot in that space. We'll talk with Chicago reporter William J. Kelly about what's going on the ground up there, not just with the violence, but also with the migrant situation. So stay tuned. We'll get to that coming up a little bit later on. We'll also talk about some entertainment here in Springfield for the summer months. Plus, in the next hour, we got to talk about climate change, ESG, what other state governments are doing, the debt ceiling. We've got so much more to get to. It's Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk now, 7:04. Let's get a check of headlines.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. 3 people were taken to the hospital following a stabbing in Springfield Sunday morning. One victim, a 26-year-old man, was found in the 1900 block of South 16th Street with wounds to his head and neck. A 29-year-old man and a woman arrived at the hospital from a residence on East Pine Street. The State Journal-Register reports that police believe the 2 men were in an altercation, but their investigation is continuing. The General Assembly has passed legislation to extend alcohol to go from restaurants for 5 more years. It was put in place to help restaurants make up for lost dine-in revenue when pandemic restrictions were in place, but supporters say people still want the convenience and restaurants still want the sales. If Governor J.B. Pritzker does not sign the bill, cocktails to go would no longer be allowed as of June 2024. A Springfield lawmaker is expressing frustration in the aftermath of his first state budget process. Republican State Representative Mike Coffey was appointed to his seat back in January. He says it's unconscionable for the legislature to approve a budget in the middle of the night on a holiday weekend, especially one that he says puts hundreds of millions of dollars towards health care for non-citizens when many Illinois residents struggle to pay for health care. Coffey also objects to legislative pay raises that are included in the spending plan. An 84-year-old woman escaped a serious injury, but her home was badly damaged in a weekend fire in Springfield. Fire Chief Ed Canny Jr. says heavy flame was showing from the front of the home on North 7th Street when crews arrived Sunday morning. The elderly woman who lives there was able to get out of the house, reportedly with assistance from neighbors and a Springfield police officer who arrived on the scene. Despite indications of minor smoke inhalation, the woman declined medical treatment or transport. The home is expected to be a total loss. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
X with a double X battery, generations of power. Batteries of all shapes and sizes, excellent service, exceptional value.
They're called Motobat batteries, and we have them at Rex. Motobats are batteries for motorcycles that are powerful enough to handle all your accessories. As you add new gadgets to your motorcycle, the standard factory battery may not be enough to handle it all. The Motobat battery is designed to send enough juice to the whole motorcycle and keep you moving down the road. At Rex Battery, we have all kinds of batteries for all kinds of vehicles. The Motobat battery has a quad flex terminal design, shortening the path to the battery cable. That means you get quicker power delivery and improved starting ability. If you have a motorcycle, you need Motobat. Rex Battery on Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
X with a double X battery, generations of power.
Hello everybody, Cousin Bill with Illinois Paving, your Reader's Choice Award Paver of the Year. Thanks for that. Is your driveway a sloppy, muddy mess? Are you tired of getting stuck in your driveway? Maybe you're sick of all the sloppy mud in the car and in the house. Or maybe you don't want all the garbage rock in your lawn. Well, if so, call Cousin Bill at Illinois Paving. ILPaving.com! ILPaving.com.
Save 11% on energy-efficient windows. We have over 100 Geldwin windows in stock and ready to take home. They feature energy-efficient glass to keep your heating and cooling costs down. Get a 28-inch wide by 54-inch tall single-hung replacement window for $139 after rebate. Need a custom size? Get a free estimate in-store or on Menards.com. Good through June 4th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Everywhere you are, everywhere you live, with TuneIn Radio, the WMAY app, or listen at home with your Amazon smart speaker. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 88, low around 64 tonight. Slight chance of afternoon showers tomorrow with a high near 90, low around 67. Thursday, better chance of afternoon showers with a high near 90. Friday, slight chance of afternoon showers, high near 91. And a sunny weekend. Saturday will be 92 degrees and Sunday 90 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
Every industry has specialists, like Alan here. He knows radiators.
Radiators. I love them. Don't even talk to me about brakes or fuel lines.
Just radiators.
Radiators.
Sally is a specialist in cakes.
I think pies are an abomination.
Really? Pies? Yuck. Then we have Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. You know what they're great at? Appliances. Nothing else. No TVs, no computer printers, no radiators.
Who's got a problem with radiators?
Nobody, Alan, but you can't get one at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World.
Too bad. They're missing out.
I'm Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. All we do is appliances. And when that's all you do it better than anyone else. Our associates on our sales floors know more about them. Our delivery people are better at installing them. And our technicians are better at fixing them. All right here in Central Illinois. Wow!
I can't believe you don't like pies, though.
What do I look like? Some kind of a peasant?
No.
Cakes are really the best thing.
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Register today to celebrate the accomplishments of local businesses at the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce Annual Small Business Awards. The luncheon starts at 11:30 on June 20th at the Crown Plaza, where business people will be recognized in 4 different categories: not-for-profit business director, new and emerging business owner, small business owner, and the Lifetime Award. Register now at gscc.org. The Chamber's Annual Small Business Awards, presented by Hickory Point Bank.
Order your sub from the new Head West in-store kiosks, and you get a free brownie. Free brownie.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Well, it's a long holiday weekend, and the headlines coming out of Chicago, not pretty, including some headlines coming out of Springfield, not pretty. We had a stabbing incident that's under investigation, 2 people stabbed, and that, of course, is, some violence that we don't want to hear about in Springfield. But if you look up in Chicago, some of the headlines rather staggering, including a weekend where there were supposed to be peacekeepers out on the streets in Chicago, and $700,000 of state tax money was used for this program to try to interdict in violence in the city of Chicago for the long Memorial holiday weekend. But here's a headline: peacekeepers trying to prevent violence. That's one headline. Another one that came out over the weekend: a man in a peacekeeper's vest charged with robbing and beating a man in Little Village. Was this indeed one of those, quote, peacekeepers that was given grant dollars by the Pritzker administration in the city of Chicago? Also, some other headlines: 2 2-year-olds wounded in shootings just hours apart in Chicago. At least 11 killed, 45 wounded so far during the Memorial weekend violence. So these, again, are just troubling headlines out of the city of Chicago. And there's also a headline out of State Representative Marty McLaughlin's office. He has issued a travel advisory from urging people to go to Chicago, not go to Chicago. So we'll review some of that a little bit later on. But to give us a better picture of what's going on the ground in Chicago, we're joined now by William J. Kelly, reporter at large in Chicago. William, thanks for taking time. Just alarming headlines coming out of the streets of Chicago over the weekend.
Thanks for having me, Greg. God bless you.
So what's going on? You heard me rattle off some of those headlines. A peacekeeper apparently arrested after allegedly beating up somebody and robbing them? What's going on?
It's very troubling, and it is truly an ominous start to the summer and to a start to Mayor Johnson's administration. He failed his first test as mayor. Let's just call it what it is. Safety is on the minds of every single Chicagoan. You can't walk down Michigan Avenue without looking over your shoulder or having your head on a swivel, trying to determine who's a possible threat or where you need to be alert to. And here we have Memorial Day weekend. It's not like it was a surprise to anyone. We have, this was some people, Chicagoans even call it the beginning of murder season in Chicago. We have reported 50 shot, 10 dead. Now, first of all, I'd like to just begin by questioning those numbers. The Chicago police don't count shootings on the Dan Ryan, which, is the expressway that heads south of Chicago. Obviously, if people are dropped off at Christ Hospital, they don't count those shootings or fatalities towards the Chicago count. So, the numbers, the real disturbing, for me as a reporter, the most disturbing part is that we can't trust any of the numbers. We can't even trust who's a peacekeeper. As you mentioned, there's this absurd program to address violent crime in Chicago by having Kindler and spending money instead of spending money on actual police officers. We're spending, Pritzker and Mayor Johnson are spending money on this absurd peacekeeper program that has already produced the worst possible results. There's Oscar Montez, who was, he claims he's no longer a gang member. Personally, I like people who were never gang members being, involved with law enforcement. But at any rate, he claims he was a former gang member, but now, he finds himself being charged with a very serious beating and robbery of a motorist in the city of Chicago. Now, and what was the criteria to hire these peacekeepers? I'm going to investigate it, Greg, and I'm telling you, I will find out who hired these peacekeepers, what was the criteria, and how many other former gang members with criminal records are walking around with peacekeeper vests in the city of Chicago.
Well, we'll definitely be checking back in with William J. Kelly on a regular basis. We were going to talk yesterday, but we were off for the Memorial Day holiday. But again, just to kind of look at these, at least 11 killed, 45 wounded. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, they say that the death toll was the highest since 2015 when 12 people were killed. But you've got the violence even happening very close to new Mayor Brandon Johnson's doorstep, where a woman was found stabbed to death less than 2 blocks from his residence. Obviously, there's a whole host of problems, alarming problems in the city of Chicago. But stacked on top of that, William, you've got the migrant crisis that Chicago's facing. You've got, 10,000 migrants altogether over the past few months being in the city of Chicago? What's some of the latest you've seen on the streets there?
Well, trying to report on the migrant crisis is like trying to drink from a fire hose over here. First of all, I feel like I'm the only reporter in Chicago that's actually doing it. I head out to this migrant hotel. In fact, I walk past it at least once or twice a day, try to take pictures, try to interview migrants. Again, we have a migrant charged with, get this, stabbing another migrant. We're trying to track down all of the details on that. But, these are, the taxpayers of Chicago, of Illinois, really are paying, millions and millions of dollars again to try and, care for these migrants at a time when we already have more crime happening on the streets of Chicago than we can deal with. This is exactly the problem. We have a new mayor that I believe, as somebody who's lived in Chicago my whole life, I was, born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I have a pretty good feel for the vibe of Chicago. And of course, Chicagoans contact me all the time from all areas of Chicago, police officers and just regular people, telling me that they feel that this new mayor has already sent a signal to the most violent criminals in the city of Chicago that he's their guy. And it's very, very hard for law-abiding citizens to take Mayor Johnson seriously when, before he was even elected, it was revealed that he wasn't even paying his own bills, city bills and other bills. And as you just stated, he can't even keep his own neighborhood safe. People are being shot and stabbed, within walking distance of his home. So I've always believed that that you have to take care of your own home first before you can go and take care of a city, for example, or a state or a country. You have to prove that you can somehow keep your own home, and this current mayor has even failed that test.
William J. Kelly with us. Real brief, just your response to State Representative Martin McLaughlin issuing a advisory here on his official website. Representative McLaughlin encourages summer visits to 52nd District, issues travel advisory to Chicago, and he says that the news related to crime coming out of Chicago each week is awful and heartbreaking for any hardworking Illinoisans with an expectation of public safety and criminal prosecution. Chicago's no longer the place for you. Carjackings, muggings, retail theft, and assaults are all up in Chicago. This is not a condemnation of the great people of Chicago, but rather a call to action for all the leaders of the city, county, and governor to solve these problems and finally return our flagship city to its prior status as a safe, world-class city for all its residents and visitors. Your thoughts? I mean, do you concur with Representative McLaughlin that people should avoid traveling to Chicago?
Well, as a lifelong Chicagoan, somebody who loves Chicago with all of my heart, I have to say, it breaks my heart to say this, but I have to agree with Marty McLaughlin. It's just absolutely bizarre what an upside-down world we live in. The NAACP has issued a travel advisory to Florida of all places, and Marty McLaughlin is issuing a travel advisory to Chicago. If I had to say who's right, as much as it breaks my heart, obviously Marty McLaughlin hit the nail on the head.
Well, William J. Kelly, greatly appreciate your time. As always, we'll check in with you next week to see if any of this gets resolved or if we're back reporting another troubling set of headlines about continued shootings and murders in the city of Chicago.
God bless you, Greg. Thank you for having me.
It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. I want to get your thoughts next at 217-629-7970 about the situation in Chicago, how we resolve it. So let's get your calls ready. Right now, though, 722 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all shifts and all positions. Apply today in person.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store. If you want to bank safe from anywhere, get the app you can use everywhere. Your money's right in your hand. Nobody loves you like Heartland. Get a loan, pay a bill when you're on the go. Deposit that check right from your phone. Download our app and you can. Nobody loves you like Heartland. We're like a bank, but only better, 'cause you'll remember. Bank like you own the place. Heartland Credit Union.
The month of May is Motorcycle Safety Month, National Barbecue Month, and National Hamburger Month. Those have the guys at Just Beds all fired up for summer. This month, get sizzling hot deals on Bemco twin mattresses just $149, and Bemco queen pillow top mattresses only $289. Get to Just Beds for a better night's sleep. Plus, register to win Night's Action Park passes. As always, free delivery, setup, and removal. Visit the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Just Beds.
Stay connected by visiting BLH Computers for an upgrade or repair to that system you're currently using. Laptops are available at a fraction of new prices, and all of them come with the exclusive lifetime BLH guarantee. All in-stock parts are free, and if you bought it from BLH Computers in the first place, the labor is always free. Upgrade, replace, repair at BLH Computers in Jacksonville, Taylorville, Springfield, and always online at blhcomputers.com.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, apixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Head on over to WMAY.com and take today's daily poll, which asks you about the debt ceiling deal that apparently is coming together in the U.S. Congress. Which side came out on top? Is it President Biden and the Democrats, Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans, or both sides came out even? Looks like most of you say both sides came out even. So go vote at WMAY.com/poll. or on the WMAY mobile app, or you can also find out how to win a $75 flight rebate from Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport Fly SPI. Go vote at WMAY.com and win at WMAY.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
State Representative Marty McLaughlin issuing a travel advisory for Chicago, saying that, again, I'll read just some of this. He's advising his constituents from Lake, McHenry, Kane, and suburban Cook counties who value public safety to be fully aware of the issues before entering the city of Chicago. The news related to crime coming out of Chicago each week's awful, heartbreaking for the hardworking Illinoisans with an expectation of public safety and criminal prosecution. Chicago's no longer the place for you. Carjackings, muggings, retail theft, and assaults are all up in Chicago. So I want to hear from you at 217-629-7970. Your thoughts. Are you going to Chicago? Do you take these travel advisories seriously? 217-629-7970. Just a few comments on the YouTube channel. It says, let's see here. Some pretty interesting comments. Peacekeepers robbed and beat a citizen. So the governor has moved from coddling criminals to actually paying them. You can't make this stuff up. You've got another one saying, for sale, one large city, broken, best offer. Others saying that they've avoided Chicago for 2 years or more. Let's hear from you, 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Okay. You're on the air. Go ahead. Yep.
My opinion is, first of all, if you're going to travel to Chicago, you should
always be aware of your surroundings and get a concealed carry permit, get training, learn how to use a gun. That way it gives you an edge because you cannot rely on law enforcement to protect you. That's the way our society's becoming, it seems like.
And you got to also be cognizant of the laws. You can't have a pistol concealed carry that carries more than 15 rounds in the magazine. That would be considered an expanded magazine and causing some concerns when it comes to possible violations of the state's gun ban. 217-629-7970. Let's get to a few more calls here before we go to the break. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, I was just curious as to why everybody is complaining about Chicago. They're not even in the top 10 most dangerous cities in the United States. Those all fall in red states. In fact,
are you talking about like the ratio of violent crime per capita or something?
Yeah. I think it's Arkansas has the most dangerous state. I don't remember exactly. But I just find it funny that you guys always call in, you talk about how dangerous Chicago is, when in reality, it's not even in the top 10.
Then why isn't making headlines nationally? Even ABC News saying violence across the country, including in Chicago, and the headlines that we saw were 11 killed, nearly 50 shot. Where else has that happened over the Memorial Holiday weekend?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Well, that's kind of what we're focused on here. I appreciate the call, 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Boy, I don't know what that last caller was talking about, but I think he's way off. William J. Kelly, quick question. Do you know any legitimate media source that he actually reports for?
I think Newsmax he was on. He does hits there. I believe he had a radio show. I'm not sure of the status of that. But, I mean, listen, he's got the right of the free press, and he posts regularly within his own channels. Is that not
Great.
for you?
Then I'm in the media, too. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's your First Amendment right. Yeah, get a platform. The Internet allows you to do that. 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Go ahead. You're on the air. Going once. Going twice. Go to the next line before the break. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning. The last caller was correct. There is proven more crime in the red states as far as cities. Another thing.
Are they red cities or are they blue cities, though?
They're still red states run by the governors, and this is just
But this is a blue state run by a Democrat and a blue city, Chicago. So, I ask you, is it are these blue cities or are they red cities?
Most of them are red that have the higher, crime in it.
Please point me to that stat. Where are you getting this? You got it right in front of you?
Thing,
do you have that? Do you have that right in front of you?
The percentages of Springfield's per capita compared to Chicago.
Do you have that right in front of you?
Center of your attention.
Do you have that stat right in front of you? Give me the source, please.
No, I think the last caller proved it to you. I mean,
he didn't offer a source.
Neither do you. Neither do you.
And again, no, I'm ABC News reporting that you had more than 9 murders in Chicago over the holiday weekend.
And the right
National
always
news
the boogeyman
headlines
to run against. So that's what they do. Now crime is the boogeyman. So let's run against it.
All right.
I feel totally
So
safe
what should happen? How should Chicago solve its violence problem?
Well, first of all, you need to start in the communities with the people. Maybe help with people, getting people jobs and educations, and start with, maybe in the schools, getting better schooling, better education, stuff like that. Maybe work programs to get people jobs that don't necessarily fit the mold to go to college.
These are some long-term things. What about adding more police and having prosecutors prosecute crime?
It's not going to change overnight by just saying, "Oh, let's arm everybody, let everybody walk around with a gun." That's not going to change anything either. So just look at Florida; everybody's walking around with a gun, and we just had a big shooting on a beach. I mean, come on, it's not the old West like it used to be. We have some people out there who just don't know how to handle themselves. People out there who are just mentally challenged. So not everyone, should be able to just carry a gun around without being checked or processed properly.
Got you down. All right, 217-629-7970. I know I said that was the last caller before the break, but one last one, I promise. All right, real quick, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Yeah, I'm from Chicago. I'm just calling in to, offer a solution here. I've lived here my whole life, and just looking around at everything. I do work in the downtown area, and it's a scary place to go these days, and you don't know what's going on. You can't even concealed carry on public transit, be it the CTA or the Metro. It's just a very terrible place to be. But the solutions, I don't know. I mean, should be up to the residents. Should be a collaboration of them and leaders of all religions or faiths or just different backgrounds. And this disaster with the mayor, with the peacekeepers. I mean, what a joke. I mean, just sitting there and a guy robs another person. I mean, what are they supposed to be doing out here? I mean,
well, and they were supposed to be able to try to interdict violence, but we saw the highest numbers of shootings and fatalities since the record in 2015. So apparently the peacekeepers have some more work to do to keep the peace. I appreciate you calling in from Chicago. Got to take a break, though. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk, now 7:35. Let's check headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the 3 big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. A recent change in state law gives the Illinois Department of Human Services 60 days to move mentally ill inmates from jail to an appropriate psychiatric setting rather than the previous 20-day limit. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell says his office is holding 11 inmates who should be transferred to a psychiatric facility. Lottery fever is on the rise again as jackpots in the multi-state games continue to climb. The Powerball game is worth $226 million if a single winner matches all the numbers in Monday night's drawing. The lump sum cash option is more than $114 million before taxes. Meanwhile, the Mega Millions has grown to $187 million for its next drawing Tuesday night, with a cash option at $95 million. If you learn to enjoy alcohol to go from restaurants during the pandemic, you may still be able to get carry-out cocktails for a while longer. The General Assembly has passed legislation to extend the practice for 5 more years. It was initially put in place to help restaurants make up for lost dine-in revenue when pandemic restrictions were in place, but supporters say people still want the convenience and restaurants still want the sales. If Governor J.B. Pritzker does not sign the bill, cocktails to go would no longer be allowed as of June 2024. A Springfield lawmaker is expressing frustration in the aftermath of his first state budget process. Republican State Representative Mike Coffey was appointed to his seat back in January. He says it's unconscionable for the legislature to approve a budget in the middle of the night on a holiday weekend, especially one that he says puts hundreds of millions of dollars towards health care for non-citizens when many Illinois residents struggle to pay for health care. Coffey also objects to legislative pay raises that are included in the spending plan. An 84-year-old woman escaped serious injury, but her home was badly damaged in a weekend fire in Springfield. Fire Chief Ed Canny Jr. says heavy flame was showing from the front of the home on North 7th Street when crews arrived Sunday morning. The elderly woman who lives there was able to get out of the house, reportedly with assistance from neighbors and a Springfield police officer who arrived on the scene. Despite indications of minor smoke inhalation, the woman declined medical treatment or transport. The home is expected to be a total loss. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Springfield police are investigating a stabbing incident Sunday morning that sent at least 3 people to the hospital. One victim was found in the 1900 block of South 16th Street with wounds to his head and back. The 26-year-old man's injuries were believed to be life-threatening, but at last report his condition has stabilized. As police were investigating that incident, they learned of a second stabbing victim, a 29-year-old man who had been taken to the hospital from a residence on East Pine Street. A woman with him was also taken to the hospital. The State Journal-Register reports the police believe the 2 men were in an altercation with each other, but their investigation is continuing. Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
WMAY News, brought to you by The Inn at 835. Let The Inn at 835 handle your next business or social gathering with style.
What are you hungry for?
Obed and Isaac sounds good.
They're always busy.
Yeah, they are. It's because the food is great. The selection of craft beer is amazing, and it's downtown. It couldn't be at a better location.
What if we have to wait?
We'll put in our name, give them our number to text us when our table is ready, and then go next door to the 7th Street Cidery and start there.
I like the way you think. They serve meads too, right?
Yeah, they do. You can get your mead, and I'll start with a flight of cider. They're constantly getting new ciders on tap all the time.
What if Obed's isn't busy and they seat us right away?
The cidery doesn't close till 11, so we can just finish the night there.
You've got this all figured out, don't you?
Yeah, I do. You should see my reward points that I've built up.
So, you're buying, right?
I didn't say that.
That's what I heard.
No, you didn't.
Obed and Isaac's Microbrewery, located in downtown Springfield, right next door to the 7th Street Cidery. Enjoy.
Less hassle, more travel. We've got connections. Springfield to Chicago O'Hare to anywhere. The Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport remains open for you. Your hometown airport is committed to providing a safe, clean, and healthy travel experience. Security lines are short, parking is always free, and customer service is a top priority. Book your next American Airlines flight from SPI at aa.com. Fly local. Fly SPI.
Take the easy way out.
The shortest distance between you and a Head West sub is now through the new in-store kiosks.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Ed Lex with Edward Jones. Listen to the Business Spotlight with Edward Jones this afternoon at 5:40 on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Listen and watch interviews with the biggest newsmakers. Subscribe to 92.7 WMAY on YouTube.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 88, low around 64 tonight. Slight chance of afternoon showers tomorrow with a high near 90, low around 67. Thursday, better chance of afternoon showers with a high near 90. Friday, slight chance of afternoon showers, high near 91. And a sunny weekend. Saturday will be 92 degrees and Sunday 90 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
With the arrival of warmer weather, it's time to ask yourself a question you probably don't want to think about. And that question is it time to think about a new HVAC system? Air conditioners are typically designed to last around 15 to 20 years, maybe less if you haven't kept up on your maintenance the way you should, regularly changing the filters and getting those annual tune-ups and things. But even if you have, at 15 to 20 years, it really is time to think about whether you need to replace that unit. A call to MB Heating and Cooling is the place to start. They'll come out, do a full assessment, let you know what shape your device is in. Let's face it, if it's near the end of its life, you're going to have more frequent breakdowns. That's going to cost you a lot more money in the long run. A new energy-efficient system with lots of life ahead of it could very well be the best way to go. So contact MB Heating and Cooling. Call 217-544-HEAT, 217-544-4328, or go to their website at mb-heating.com.
Hello, just want to take 1 minute to tell you about BLH Computers. BLH Computers has 3 area locations. They have a shop in Springfield, a shop in Jacksonville, also a shop in Taylorville. Computers connect us to the internet. The internet is everywhere, so you can always check BLH Computers out online, blhcomputers.com. The internet is also what keeps us connected with our family, our friends, our work sometimes, and it's also great to stay connected with BLH Computers when you are looking to make an upgrade or a repair to that computer that you're using. They have laptops available for a fraction of the price that you're going to be paying at that big box store, and something that you're not going to be getting at that big box store is the exclusive BLH guarantee. All in-stock parts are free, and if you bought the computer at BLH Computers in the first place, the labor is always going to be free, my friend. And don't forget about taking all of those old electronics that are just sitting around your house. You can take them into BLH Computers for safe recycling, because they do that too. So you can upgrade, you can replace, you can repair, you can even recycle all of that at BLH Computers, with shops in Jacksonville, in Taylorville, and Springfield. Learn more online, blhcomputers.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
The Memorial Holiday weekend is kind of the unofficial kickoff to summer, so you enjoyed all the barbecues and the lake or the pool and time with your friends and family. But really, I think for the theater community here in Springfield, when they take the stage at the Muni, that's really the beginning of summer, and what a great lineup for the summer they've got. at the Springfield Muni. You can get more details at themuni.org. Joining us in studio right now are some of the cast and crew of Fiddler on the Roof. That's going to be showing at the Muni here in Springfield this weekend and next weekend. So make plans to make that happen. Joining us right now is Alyssa, Elijah, also Hella, and Hunter. Thank you guys for taking time with us this morning, and tell us about Fiddler on the Roof. Whoever wants to start off.
Well, thank you for having
All
us.
right, everybody at once now. Okay, so Alyssa, tell us what you've got going on for Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, we're very excited to be putting it on the next 2 weekends. 8:30 show times. We are running this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then next week, we run actually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So a lot of opportunity for people to go check this out. For people not familiar with Fiddler on the Roof, tell us about it.
Well, so it is set in a little village of Anatevka, which we believe is somewhere in the Ukraine. And the story centers on Tevye, a poor milkman, and his 5 daughters. With the help of a colorful and tight-knit Jewish community, Tevye tries to protect his daughters and instill in them traditional values in the face of changing social mores and the growing anti-Semitism of Tsarist Russia. The show is rich in historical and ethnic detail, and its universal theme of tradition cuts across barriers of race, class, nationality, and religion, leaving audiences crying tears of laughter, joy, and sadness.
Well, and the audience is also going to they're going to know some of the songs too, right?
Yes, I think there'll be a lot of songs that people will recognize.
So, Alyssa, what role do you play in this?
I'm Hodel. I am Tevye's second daughter.
All right, Elijah, you?
I play Perchik. I am the outsider, so I kind of come in and shake things up a little bit.
How do you shake things up?
My character is not a very traditional thinker, and if you come see the show, tradition is something that definitely is something that everybody in the town holds close.
It's a main theme in the overall production is that tradition. So that's Alyssa and Elijah, both members of the crew and the cast. Also joining us, Ella and Hunter. Ella, let's start with you. What's your role in this?
I play Bielka, Tevye's 4th daughter.
All right, and Hunter?
I play Sprinza, Tevye's 5th daughter.
Now, for the two of you, of course, you're younger than us here in this room. Tell us what got you into this. Is this your first time being on stage in this capacity?
So this is my first Muni show, but I've done a few other shows. I started when I think 1st grade, but the only thing I think that got me into it, I always like doing shows for my parents. So, yeah.
So even not on a stage, you'll produce a show in the living room.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. And Hunter, yourself?
Well, I got into this because I really wanted something to do over the summer.
I gotta say, Hunter, you're a little bit of a ham because even when I was, getting the names right, and Ella says she's here, Hunter says she's alive. So it's good. So, I guess tell us about the rehearsals and how much is involved here. How much are you guys having to work at this?
We work really hard on this. We really want to make a good show. The rehearsals, sometimes they go, out of hand. Yesterday, Tevye was choking on smoke. Someone hurt their ankle. Yeah, it was really chaotic in rehearsals.
It's kind of typical at this point in the show sometimes. Yeah, but we go 5 days a week.
Yeah, 5 days a week.
Yeah, well, and that just opens up the opportunity to, find some moments to do ad-libs. Because, once the show goes on, it's got to go on. And if somebody trips and falls, you got to, it's part of acting, right? You just got to kind of go with the flow.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. So Fiddler on the Roof, the Muni, starts up this weekend. You can find out more information at themuni.org. In studio with us, Ella, Hunter, Alyssa, Elijah, some of the cast from the Muni. Tell us about some of the crew and how they, this, of course, is going to be on stage at the Muni. It's a big production. You've got the music involved. You've got the choreography involved. You've got the set design involved. Tell us about everybody else that's kind of behind the scenes.
Actually, what's kind of neat about this production is, as far as choreography goes, we actually are required to do the original Broadway choreography.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a lot of work we have what we call the choreography Bible. And so we've been trying to piece that together and make it go from words on a page to getting it to be a big dance on the stage with, what's our we're about at
61.
60 people in our cast.
Wow. That's a lot of people. And it's, I would imagine the director feels like they're herding cats at some point. Is that
she does.
appropriate?
Yeah, Lori McCoy is our director, and yes, I imagine she might feel that way sometimes.
Now, Ella, Hunter, are you guys on your best behavior during all of this, or what do you? Are you loose?
So they have kid wranglers for the kids. Yeah, they make us sit at tables. Yeah,
That's not a paid position.
Yeah, right.
Like,
okay.
We can barely hear our cues. Yeah, and it's like really.
She's got grievances. She's got grievances, and already. How old are you, Hunter?
8.
8 years old. Well, keep that spirit going, because. Yeah, that's just fantastic. And Ella, obviously being on stage, you like putting on a show for people. So what are you most looking forward to when this thing actually goes on stage and the lights splash on you?
So this is kind of weird, but I like my last line in the whole entire show because it's happy and a sad time. So.
How do you prepare for that?
I don't know.
I think Ella said something pretty important about this show. It's got some hard themes, but it's so uplifting too. And I think it ends. It's sad, but you're like, but I'm hopeful and happy. And there's so many funny parts too. So the show really does have everything.
No question. And again, the songs people are going to know, they're going to hear and be, I remember that song. What are some of your guys' favorite songs?
My favorite song is probably Tradition. It's like introducing the show to the audience.
I really like Matchmaker.
Yeah, Matchmaker's fun.
Matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. There you go. All right. And Alyssa?
I like Sunrise, Sunset.
Oh, it's another good one. I think I sang that during, middle school choir competitions.
Yeah, or might have heard it at a wedding.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, a lot of big songs. Elijah?
I really like To Life. To Life is a really fun song.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun to be had. It's all about tradition, mixing things up. You'll know the songs and you'll enjoy the cast, especially with some of us joining us here in studio. Obviously, it's going to be a big deal. So check it out this weekend. Again, Alyssa, give us because this weekend it goes live, but the next week there's some added dates throughout the actual weekday.
Yes. So this week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and next week we start as early as Wednesday and go through Saturday.
All right. And you get more details at themuni.org, the website again, themuni.org. Ella, Hunter, Alyssa, Elijah, thank you guys so much for taking time with us. Go break a leg, all right?
Thank you.
It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk now 7:52 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Deliver smiles, butter burgers, fresh custard, and great service. Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all positions.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 4, our 100% non-prorated warranty. Have you ever purchased something with a limited warranty? When you actually need something serviced, you find they won't do anything for you. Our warranties are not limited. We'll take care of you, whether you've had our mattress 15 days or up to 15 years. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Listen, at Verlo Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly on to you every day. So hurry in today to your local Verlo, where there are no middleman markups. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
You hear a lot about influencers these days. Our personalities have been influencing local purchasing decisions long before it was a hot new marketing buzzword.
It's Mike Winmacher. I do the play-by-play for Glenwood Titan football on WMAY. I enjoy doing that and enjoy being part of the community. If you got a business, want me to help you sell it, you know who to contact. Not me. People higher up than me that know more about the business stuff. But I'm happy to talk about it.
Learn about all of our influencers and campaign strategy. Start the conversation today at MidwestFamilySPI.com.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
X with a double X battery. Generations of power.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Your invitation to summer has arrived with 50% off everything for a limited time through Memorial Day weekend at Banana Republic Factory. Think breezy dresses, linen suiting, and more polished, sun-ready styles. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt may get a ticket. A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt during a crash may not make it home. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
All right, coming back next hour, I want to share with you some of this audio. Here's just a sample of it from State Representative Chris Miller, who took to the House floor late in the day and had this to say about climate change and the direction that we're headed with various pieces of legislation and so on.
I know one thing about it. For the last 69 years, we've had a climate crisis, and we've gone from one thing to the other. When I was a kid, we had global cooling. We're going to have the great freeze out, and 4 billion people were going to die. And then we went to global warming, where the earth was going to turn into a frying pan, and we were all going to burn up. And now we're on this myth we call climate change, and now we're all going to change to death. One of the common threads that links all of these ideas together is none of it ever happened, and guess what? None of it is ever going to happen. We aren't going to be destroyed by CO2, and I would suggest that probably most of the people in this body don't even know what carbon dioxide is. Here's a good dose of it. There's a little carbon dioxide for you, and guess what? Nobody's gonna die. One of the things that...
All right, we'll hear more of that coming back, so stay tuned. It got an audible laugh from the entire House chamber. Again, State Representative Chris Miller will hear all of that coming back next. WMAY.
SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. WMAY FM. Taylorville. Springfield's news and talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Justin Finch. Debt ceiling deal reached. Now it's time to line up the votes. President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy making phone calls today. ABC's Rachel Scott is on Capitol Hill with the details of what's in the package.
The 2-year deal would suspend the debt limit through the next presidential election, claw back $30 billion in COVID relief, rescind $20 billion in IRS funding, end Biden's freeze on student loan payments in August, and add new work requirements for Americans ages 50 to 54 who rely on food assistance, which progressive Democrats were firmly against.
The date at which the U.S. will begin to default on its bills is June 5th, so votes are expected in the House and Senate this week. In Hollywood, Florida, south of Fort Lauderdale, 9 people were shot and wounded when gunfire broke out amidst an altercation between 2 groups of people.
The gunfire erupting around 6:30 p.m. as beachgoers were celebrating Memorial Day. 5 adults and 4 children were shot, a 1-year-old among those hit. Video showing police and bystanders treating victims. A spokesperson for the local healthcare system says all are in stable condition.
ABC's Victor Oquendo in Hollywood Beach. The search continues for the suspected gunman. The war moves to Russia. Drones shot down in Moscow.
Talking to reporters in Moscow, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov calls the attack a response by Kyiv to what he says were very effective strikes on one of Ukraine's decision-making centers over the weekend. Most of the drones in Moscow were shot down. There was little damage, and forensic teams have been collecting debris. Russia's defense minister, meanwhile, sternly vows to react as harshly as possible. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Kyiv hit by Russian airstrikes 3 times in the last 24 hours. This is ABC News.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop, now 8:03. Coming back, we'll hear some of what State Representative Chris Miller had to say on the House floor about climate change. And what is CO2? And I want to get your reaction to some of that as well. Plus, we'll take a look at what other state governments have been up to, including on issues concerning ESG and gun control and so on. Plus, the debt ceiling. Maybe we revisit some of the budget debates and more. So stay tuned. We got tons more to get to on this hour. It's now 8:04.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. An 84-year-old woman escaped serious injury in a weekend fire at her home on North 7th Street in Springfield Sunday morning. The woman reportedly escaped with help from neighbors and a Springfield police officer who arrived on the scene. Despite indications of minor smoke inhalation, the woman declined medical treatment or transport. The home is expected to be a total loss. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Lottery fever is on the rise again as jackpots in the multi-state games continue to climb. The Powerball game is worth $226 million if a single winner matches all the numbers in Monday night's drawing. The lump sum cash option is more than $114 million before taxes. Meanwhile, the Mega Millions has grown to $187 million for its next drawing Tuesday night, with a cash option at $95 million. If you learn to enjoy alcohol to go from restaurants during the pandemic, you may still be able to get carry-out cocktails for a while longer. The General Assembly has passed legislation to extend the practice for 5 more years. It was initially put in place to help restaurants make up for lost dine-in revenue when pandemic restrictions were in place, but supporters say people still want the convenience and restaurants still want the sales. If Governor J.B. Pritzker does not sign the bill, cocktails to go would no longer be allowed as of June 2024. A Springfield lawmaker is expressing frustration in the aftermath of his first state budget process. Republican State Representative Mike Coffey was appointed to his seat back in January. He says it's unconscionable for the legislature to approve a budget in the middle of the night on a holiday weekend, especially one that he says puts hundreds of millions of dollars towards health care for non-citizens when many Illinois residents struggle to pay for health care. Coffey also objects to legislative pay raises that are included in the spending plan. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News brought to you by Illinois Paving. It's paving season, and Illinois Paving is here to help. Call Cousin Bill today for your free estimate. Visit ilpaving.com.
The Memorial Health Championship presented by LRS comes to Panther Creek June 29th through July 2nd. And thanks to our friends at Visit Springfield, you can enjoy the tournament free. Free parking at Landmark Ford with air-conditioned shuttles running to the golf course free. Don't miss the Blue Cross Blue Shield Birdie Club on 17. Cool down in the Health Alliance Cool Zone. Enjoy shaded seating in the Tito's Terrace or upgrade to the all-inclusive J&J Gaming VIP Lounge. Get more information by visiting memorialhealthchampionship.com.
Less hassle, more travel. We've got connections to anywhere. The Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport remains open for you. Your hometown airport is committed to providing a safe, clean, and healthy travel experience. Security lines are short, parking is always free, and customer service is a top priority. Book your next American Airlines flight from SPI at aa.com. Fly local, fly SPI.
Take the easy way out.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Register today to celebrate the accomplishments of local businesses at the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce Annual Small Business Awards. The luncheon starts at 11:30 on June 20th at the Crown Plaza, where business people will be recognized in 4 different categories: not-for-profit business director, new and emerging business owner, small business owner, and the Lifetime Award. Register now at gscc.org. The Chamber's Annual Small Business Awards, presented by Hickory Point Bank.
Miss an interview? Catch the podcast whenever, wherever. 92.7 WMAY is on demand at WMAY.com.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 88, low around 64 tonight. Slight chance of afternoon showers tomorrow with a high near 90, low around 67. Thursday, better chance of afternoon showers with a high near 90. Friday, slight chance of afternoon showers, high near 91. And a sunny weekend. Saturday will be 92 degrees and Sunday 90 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 1, we're a second-generation, family-owned and operated business. My dad and older brother opened this store almost 25 years ago. Their sons are still involved in the business. You're not just talking with a salesperson at Verlo, you're with family, with the guys that build your mattress. We're not just selling you a mattress, we genuinely care about improving the quality of your sleep. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Listen, at Verlo Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly on to you every day. So hurry in today to your local Verlo, where there are no middleman markups. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Lavina Roach. I was married for almost 65 years, and I have 4 kids, 5 grandkids, and 5 great-grandkids. I've been here for 5 months. It's so clean. Everybody's wonderful. It makes you feel more like home. And I don't think there's any place in town that's as nice as this one.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
As a state employee, you work hard to make Illinois a better place. At Health Alliance, we do too. It's our Illinois roots that set us apart. Our HMO plan for state of Illinois employees features the doctors and hospitals you know and trust. So whether you're a first responder in O'Fallon or a staffer in Springfield, Health Alliance is the obvious choice for your state employee coverage. Learn more at healthalliance.org/state of Illinois. The benefit choice period ends May 31st.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Well, it wasn't just the budget that the State House passed in the early morning hours Saturday. They also advanced legislation concerning the utility Ameren, and still some unanswered questions as to what other types of utility regulations are going to be imposed. But during a debate about a bill concerning Ameren, you had State Representative Chris Miller get up and share some of his thoughts on the whole idea of climate change. And here's what he had to say. His comments in most of his comments that he made. Here's Representative Chris Miller on the House floor late Friday heading into Saturday morning.
You know, I work outside every day. I work in the environment. You know, it's 100 degrees in the shade and 90% humidity. I don't sit around and whine about it being hot. When it's a winter time and I'm out feeding the cows and it's 20 below zero, I'm not whining about it being cold. And we've created a complete myth that is destroying the economy in Illinois and eventually will destroy the economy in the United States of America if we continue down this rabbit trail. You know, before CEJA happened, myself, Representative Hallbrook, Representative Calkins, we actually went on the energy tour. And we visited the Prairie State campus. We visited Hamilton Coal. We visited the nuclear power plant in Clinton. We visited the wind farms. We visited the solar fields. And we made a decision based on information and not our emotions or how we feel. I know one of the things that we found out at these energy producing plants that everyone was running about almost 100% capacity. And at that time, we knew that there was no way in the world we could shut down our existing power and still power our grid, and the net result of it was a war on the middle class, and people could no longer afford to pay their doggone electric bills because of bad public policy. I know one thing about it: for the last 69 years, we've had a climate crisis, and we've gone from one thing to the other. When I was a kid, we had global cooling. We're going to have the great freeze out, and 4 billion people were going to die. And then we went to global warming, where the earth was going to turn into a frying pan, and we were all going to burn up. And now we're on this myth we call climate change, and now we're all going to change to death. One of the common threads that links all of these ideas together is none of it ever happened, and guess what? None of it is ever going to happen. We aren't going to be destroyed by CO2, and I would suggest that probably most of the people in this body don't even know what carbon dioxide is. Here's a good dose of it. There's a little carbon dioxide for you, and guess what? Nobody's going to die. One of the things that...
Representative, Representative Wilhauer gives you 3 minutes.
But anyway, does anybody know how much carbon dioxide is in the entire globe? And I guess probably nobody can answer that question. There's 0.04% of the entire world atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide. During the Obama administration, the EPA said if we do everything that we want to do by the year 2100, that we will increase the global temperature by 0.02% of a degree. It doesn't amount to jack squat. There's one thing that I know is in sound science, your observation dictates your conclusion. Your observation dictates your conclusion. And I know I have 69 years of observation, and I have come to the conclusion that this is a bunch of bunk, and we need to throw this all in the garbage. One of the things that I understand is I understand earth science as a farmer. And there's a great mechanism that we call photosynthesis. It's an incredible way that we clean up the atmosphere. Guess what? We have millions of acres of green leafy plants that absorb carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. It's amazing. It's incredible. Another thing it takes out of the atmosphere is sulfur. And guess what? We've taken so much sulfur out of the atmosphere. Now as a farmer, I have to buy sulfur to put in my fertilizer mixes so I can grow the maximum production in corn. There's one thing that I know is our biggest threat to civilization is not climate change. But I know a lot of times that I think that our biggest threat to civilization is the hot air that gets produced in this General Assembly by passing bad public policy. No one can change the weather, not Joe Biden, not Barack Obama, not J.B. Pritzker, not John Kerry. They cannot change the climate. People do what they really believe. And when you see these guys flying around the world in their private jets, they live in mansions on the beach. If they actually thought the world was doomed because of climate change, they would have a different lifestyle. Part of the lie is convincing you that electricity comes from magic. We wave our magic wand and all of a sudden we produce electricity, and it's just not true. We are not having a climate crisis, but what we are having is we are having a crisis of common sense. And the only way, we're on the Fourth Amendment to this bill, and the only way to fix it is to have Amendment number 5 and throw CJA in the garbage and start over. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So it's State Representative Chris Miller, obviously very passionate and getting a laughter from all in the chamber early Saturday morning when they went to go pass this measure that apparently gives Ameren more control over high voltage lines, but apparently, even though it has bipartisan support, passed both chambers, Governor J.B. Pritzker announcing he may indeed veto this bill. But does that address any of the concerns that Miller brought up there about the CO2 and all the controls to try to control CO2? And is it really kind of naivete of legislators seeing that they have some kind of control over the weather or over the climate possibly changing? So interesting to hear those comments, but also interesting is, what didn't advance at the State House, and that is ethics concerning some of the headlines that popped out of the ComEd 4 trial. So, while we're looking at maintaining some controls over utilities in their electric generation, the state has a policy of ending coal-fired power plants by 2040 while bringing about more electric vehicles. How that's going to work with the impacts on the energy grid still have yet to be seen. They did, however, lift the nuclear moratorium. It's still yet to be seen if the governor's going to sign that. But what about the ethics involved in all of this, especially concerning the ComEd 4 verdicts that came out, guilty across the board? Was there anything done on ethics? So we'll hear a little bit of Republican State Representative Ryan Spain next about his concerns that the legislature really just dropped the ball on advancing any meaningful ethics reforms at the Illinois State House. So stay tuned. We'll get to that next here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Stay tuned. Tons more to get to here on WMAY. It's now 8:19. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast. Just absolutely gorgeous, but man, we could use some rain. Today, mostly sunny, the high of 87, clear overnight, the low of 64. Do have a chance of some showers Wednesday with the high near 90. And then Thursday, we're looking at a 40% chance of showers and storms, the high near 90. Friday, chance of showers and storms, the high near 90. And then Saturday, the high of 91, sunshine. By Sunday, mostly sunny, the high of 90. Right now, sun's out. It's 65 degrees at 8:20 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Hey, it's Greg Bishop. The Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport is celebrating 75 years in Springfield, and we have your chance to win a $75 flight voucher. This week's trivia question is, name the airline that flew green and white planes from Springfield and eventually merged with TWA. You could be this week's winner. Answer the trivia question right now at WMAY.com or the WMAY mobile app.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power. Batteries of all shapes and sizes. Excellent service. Exceptional value.
They're called Motobat batteries, and we have them at Rex. Motobats are batteries for motorcycles that are powerful enough to handle all your accessories. As you add new gadgets to your motorcycle, the standard factory battery may not be enough to handle it all. The Motobat battery is designed to send enough juice to the whole motorcycle and keep you moving down the road. At Rex Battery, we have all kinds of batteries for all kinds of vehicles. The Motobat battery has a quad flex terminal design, shortening the path to the battery cable. That means you get quicker power delivery and improved starting ability. If you have a motorcycle, you need Motobat. Rex Battery on Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
If you're planning a furniture facelift, your timing couldn't be better. Hendricks Home Furnishings is moving all floor samples and warehouse overstock today. They need it all gone, so prices have been slashed to historic lows, never before seen and never to be seen again. That includes Lazy Boy. Come choose your favorites. Get it delivered fast and free during this one and only clearance blowout at the place where you can always talk to the owner. Hendricks Home Furnishings on Route 4, Verdon, and online at hendricks.tv.
Less frustration, more vacation. Book a nonstop flight from Springfield's Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport, SPI, to Fort Myers, Punta Gorda at Allegiant.com and experience the sun, fun, and relaxation of Southwest Florida. Find low fares and save big by bundling at Allegiant.com. Fly from SPI and spend more time enjoying vacation. Book your flight from SPI at Allegiant.com. Fly local. Fly SPI. Take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your invitation to summer has arrived with 50% off everything for a limited time through Memorial Day weekend at Banana Republic Factory. Think breezy dresses, linen suiting, and more polished, sun-ready styles. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Head on over to WMAY.com and take today's daily poll, which asks you about the debt ceiling deal. Who came out on top? President Joe Biden and the Democrats, Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans, or both sides came out even? Well, most of you all morning long have said both sides came out even, but starting to narrow a bit with those of you who are saying Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans came out on top. So go vote at WMAY.com, and while you're at the website, find out how you can win a $75 flight rebate for Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport. Fly SPI. All right, so all you got to do is answer a trivia question. If you get it right, you're entered to win that weekly prize. So make it happen at WMAY.com.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
We heard comments from State Representative Chris Miller talking about a bill concerning Ameren, and that was dealing with high energy lines, and he really blasted the narrative of climate change. I think the most interesting part's like he doesn't think most people know what CO2 is, and then he goes, here's some blows into the microphone and says, nobody's going to die. But that was a fun speech to hear. And, of course, the interaction with the members of the House early Saturday morning when that legislation was brought up, or I think it was late Friday night. Either way, they went all the way into about 3 o'clock Saturday morning before they passed the budget. But during the budget debate, another utility issue was raised, and that was about ethics and whether or not the legislature is going to advance ethics reforms. And that's something that State Representative Ryan Spain said he just did not see come out of the state legislature. So here's some of what he had to say about the lack of ethics reforms coming from the State House.
That we are going to leave this capital city after one of the largest public corruption trials with 4 convictions, all swirling around the person that presided at this rostrum, at this dais, for 38 years, and we as a legislature are adjourning without doing anything on the topic of ethics reforms. It is said that budgets reflect our priorities. And boy, I just cannot believe it, that we don't, all of us, place a priority on cleaning up the corruption that has been such a deep stain on the state of Illinois. We leave a lot of work to do here as we adjourn tonight. I hope we will do better in the future. Thank you.
So, no real ethics reforms stemming from the ComEd 4 trial, which led to guilty verdicts, and that's a complaint that Republicans have. But they did pass some ethics reforms. When it comes to red light cameras, we saw a slew of individuals snagged from the State House and from local governments, especially in the Chicago suburbs, of people taking bribes from the red light camera industry. In some of those instances, the feds were working with people undercover, but regardless, there were a lot of questions as to what kind of ethics need to be brought about concerning red light cameras. So they did pass a measure that has some of those ethics built in, like, for instance, the red light camera industry can't donate to the political committee of an elected official, whether or not that stands constitutional muster, as political contributions are considered First Amendment rights, free speech. So we'll see if that gets challenged if it's enacted. But there's a slew of other ethics considerations in the measure that passed both the House and the Senate concerning red light. But that does not directly address the ethics around how utilities go about getting legislation at the State House. So that's still very much, it remains unanswered. And a question we'll see whether or not it's addressed when they come back this fall. But the Illinois State House is off all summer. They've got fall veto session. They have yet to announce that schedule. So we'll see what kinds of things they come back and have to clean up or do over again heading into the tail end of this year. So we'll watch that closely. Here with Springfield's Morning News, I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY. All right, stay tuned. We've got another half hour, and we can talk about what other state legislatures are doing, including Illinois. Maybe we tackle the debt ceiling a bit, but also your phone calls at 217-629-7970. Stay tuned. Much more coming up. Right now, though, it's 8:30, and let's take a look at some headlines.
News brought to you by Illinois Paving. It's paving season, and Illinois Paving is here to help. Call Cousin Bill today for your free estimate. Visit ilpaving.com.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 6, we build a double-sided mattress. For those that don't intend to flip their mattress or don't want to spend a bit extra to get a flippable mattress, single-sided mattresses are a good fit, and we have plenty to choose from. However, if you prefer to have a mattress that is flippable so you have a fresh side to use, we give you that option. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Listen, at Verlo Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly onto you every day. So hurry in today to your local Verlo, where there are no middleman markups. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
News,
weather,
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. An 84-year-old woman escaped serious injury in a weekend fire at her home on North 7th Street in Springfield Sunday morning. The woman reportedly escaped with help from neighbors and a Springfield police officer who arrived on the scene. Despite indications of minor smoke inhalation, the woman declined medical treatment or transport. The home is expected to be a total loss. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Lottery fever is on the rise again as jackpots in the multi-state games continue to climb. The Powerball game is worth $226 million if a single winner matches all the numbers in Monday night's drawing. The lump sum cash option is more than $114 million before taxes. Meanwhile, the Mega Millions has grown to $187 million for its next drawing Tuesday night, with a cash option at $95 million. If you learn to enjoy alcohol to go from restaurants during the pandemic, you may still be able to get carry-out cocktails for a while longer. The General Assembly has passed legislation to extend the practice for 5 more years. It was initially put in place to help restaurants make up for lost dine-in revenue when pandemic restrictions were in place, but supporters say people still want the convenience and restaurants still want the sales. If Governor J.B. Pritzker does not sign the bill, cocktails to go would no longer be allowed as of June 2024. A Springfield lawmaker is expressing frustration in the aftermath of his first state budget process. Republican State Representative Mike Coffey was appointed to his seat back in January. He says it's unconscionable for the legislature to approve a budget in the middle of the night on a holiday weekend, especially one that he says puts hundreds of millions of dollars towards health care for non-citizens when many Illinois residents struggle to pay for health care. Coffey also objects to legislative pay raises that are included in the spending plan. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
Looking to buy your next home or considering listing? My wife and I recommend choosing RE/MAX Professionals of Springfield, Fritz Pfister. Working with Fritz to find our new home in Sangamon County was truly a wonderful experience. He's prompt, responsive, and we had constant communication. He was committed to serving our needs and made our home buying experience an absolute pleasure. RE/MAX Professionals of Springfield, Fritz Pfister, 217-652-7653. 217-652-7653. Buying or selling a home? Fritz makes it easy.
Do-it-yourself ordering kiosks now inside Head West mean getting your sub faster.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Ed Lex with Edward Jones. Listen to the Business Spotlight with Edward Jones this afternoon at 5:40 on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Get today's headlines delivered to your inbox every morning. Subscribe now at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 88, low around 64 tonight. Slight chance of afternoon showers tomorrow with a high near 90, low around 67. Thursday, better chance of afternoon showers with a high near 90. Friday, slight chance of afternoon showers, high near 91. And a sunny weekend. Saturday will be 92 degrees and Sunday 90 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's one thing that psychologists and therapists believe to be a key step to achieving better mental health: meditation. It starts with proper breathing. By breathing in slowly for 5 or 10 seconds and exhaling, counting the same way, for just a few minutes each day has been a big deal for many people as they reach a new level of relaxation. Now, that's just a start. If your feelings of depression and hopelessness are accentuated with drugs and alcohol, then you may need some professional help. The team of nurses, counselors, physicians, and psychiatrists at Gateway Foundation understand that. They know what you're going through, and they can show you the way out. Gateway also uses meditation as a key component of their successful treatment. Your insurance covers the cost, and the Family Medical Leave Act protects your job. If your situation appears hopeless, make the confidential call to Gateway at 877-505-HOPE and start feeling better today. Gateway Foundation. Addiction medicine, saving lives.
New cars are computers on wheels. The average vehicle nowadays has over 1,400 microchips in it. That's a lot. Because your car's connected, it can also collect a lot of data about you. I'm Kim Commando, America's Digital Pro. Your car is like your phone, computer, or tablet now, always listening in and collecting info. What's your vehicle collecting? A website reveals it all. It's called the Vehicle Privacy Report. This company deletes synced personal data from used cars before they're resold. It's how car makers comply with privacy laws. But there's a way you can tap into their work. Head to privacyforcars.com, enter your car's VIN, and the tool spits out the privacy policies about your car and also all your data. Here's what you may find out. Details like your name, your address, your email address, and driver's license number. Location data that shows where you are and where you went. Biometrics, voice recordings. That website again, privacyforcars.com. Get my free daily email right now at getkim.com. You have a lot of places to get your tech news. I know that. But there's only one website that tells you what the tech news means to you, and that's my site, commando.com. Every day, you'll find breaking tech news, security alerts, along with really useful tips and product reviews. Tens of millions of people just like you visit my site, and I'd love for you to become a regular. I bet you learn one great thing each day at commando.com. And at my site, you also get early access to my USA Today columns, too. And to make things easier on your busy life, sign up for my free newsletters that get delivered right to your inbox. You can pick and choose what you're interested in, whether that's smartphones or smart homes, Windows or Mac. And this way, you only get the know-how that you want. And I'll never, ever send you spam because I value you and your inbox. At commando.com, there are links at the top of the page to get my free newsletters. And also, send me a personal message. Go now while you're thinking about it. That's commando.com, Komando.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Should Illinois state lawmakers get a pay raise? That's one thing that's included in the Illinois state budget that passed the Illinois House at about 2 or 3 in the morning Saturday, while a lot of taxpayers were fast asleep preparing for the long holiday weekend. The House was passing a $50 billion budget, highest spend for the state of Illinois, and included in it, you've got subsidies for undocumented migrants to pay for their health care. You don't have an extension of the Invest in Kids School Choice Scholarship Program. And you don't have a reduction in taxes. Your gas tax is going to go up a second time this year, July 1st. The grocery tax is going to go from 0 to 1%, so people are going to be paying more at the pump and more at the grocery store. But all that's compounded with inflationary pressures as well. But there's also, tucked in this budget, a increase in legislator pay. Should the legislators get a pay raise? 217-629-7970. Already seeing some people push to have Governor Pritzker veto that element of it, but even State Representative Marty McLaughlin, when we asked him late last week about the pay raises for legislators, here's some of what he had to say about the idea of legislators getting a pay increase for part-time work.
Well, we're going to all vote against them. I mean, this is ridiculous. These are part-time jobs. You know, if you're going to make these jobs permanent, I mean, Iowa, I think, is $27,000 for the same job. Wisconsin, $51,000. Indiana, $26,000. This is ridiculous. I was a mayor for a volunteer for 8 years. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I think everybody here agrees.
What do you think?
I mean, I want to apologize to the taxpayer. I've actually gone out last year and I thanked and apologized them, and I asked, were you aware we passed a pay raise last year at 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday? They were shocked, and I don't mean to point the finger at the media, but up in my area in Chicago, they didn't mention it to anybody. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to me as a public servant because, like my friends here, we all have other jobs and other businesses, and we're trying to keep this state solvent. So it is actually an embarrassment to have this done again. It'll be done, what, at 1 or 2 in the morning tonight? Let's do it at 4 o'clock right before your news cycle. You know, that would be refreshing for me.
So, again, State Representative Marty McLaughlin decrying these raises. Others in that group of Republicans during that news conference late Friday said that they don't take their money. They're not going to write a check to the state treasury. Dan Calkins saying he doesn't trust the state to spend that money, so he actually gives the money away in different ways, not by giving it back to the state treasury. But regardless, lawmakers in a partisan budget early in the morning hours Saturday, they passed the budget that included state legislator pay raises. Here is House Minority Leader Tony McCombie talking about how she believes there's a constitutional issue with these pay raises. Because keep in mind, they gave themselves a pay raise in lame duck. They passed a supplemental appropriations during the 102nd General Assembly, and in that included a pay bump for the incoming legislature that began mid-January. So early January, they pass a pay raise for the new legislatures coming in. The legislators coming in are getting that pay raise for the new General Assembly, but this budget includes yet another pay raise. So how does this work? Here's State Representative House Minority Leader Tony McCombie sharing some of her thoughts on whether this is constitutional. But I'd love to hear from you at 217-629-7970. Should legislators get a pay raise? Here's House Minority Leader Tony McCombie.
The salary set in this budget is $89,675, and it should be $89,250. You've provided for a raise in this budget, which is not allowed under the Illinois Constitution. Under the Illinois Constitution, in Article 4, Section 11, a member shall receive a salary and allowances provided by law. But changes in the salary of a member shall not take effect during the term for which he has been elected. This raise is in direct violation of the Illinois Constitution. A raise can only take effect the next General Assembly. You have created a constitutional problem with this budget.
So, House Minority Leader Tony McCombie raising the question, how is this going to be resolved? Is a lawsuit going to be brought? We'll obviously be watching for that. But regardless of the concerns Republicans raised, it was a partisan budget. Democrats passed the budget, and that included a whole bunch of new spending programs. Again, the subsidies for undocumented migrant health care included in that budget. The pay raises included in that budget. No extension of the Invest in Kids school scholarship program included in that budget, but you also have a whole host of other things all spelled out in that $50 billion spending plan that was approved in the early morning hours Saturday morning when a lot of taxpayers were fast asleep. Let's get your thoughts at 217-629-7970. Should Illinois legislators get a pay raise? Good morning.
No. This is getting ridiculous where less than 25 years ago, they were getting paid around 50. So it's out of control for a part-time job. You look at the amount of time they spend in their legislation and in the Capitol. This is not even not even 20 hours a week if you figure out a full year. 1,000 hours.
Well, all of the gimmicks have run out.
No, you're right. And having being on the ground for the legislative action and watching it closely, they're in for it'll come in during spring session on a Tuesday late. Wednesday, Thursday, and then they'll leave for the weekend. But, hey, when they're in session, though, I mean, look at the tail end of session. They were doing 15, 16-hour days. Doesn't that count?
No, they weren't. That's a false leader. They're, quote, in session, but what are they doing? Most of them are back in their Capitol offices conducting their other jobs because they're not on the floor. They're not debating. They're not. This budget is a perfect example. You waited till the 11th and a half, 13th hour, and then you get a 3,500-page document. There's nobody that had a chance to read it. And then they say they were hours, 12, 14-hour days. No, I work with these guys through other lobbyists, and no, they don't spend all day working on state stuff. Half of them are doing their own thing, and then they get paid to work for somebody else.
Yeah, and then, I mean, during the summer months, they're not in session. They might have some hearings once a week scattered throughout the summer, but, those hearings may last an hour or two. But they also say, hey, they got constituent services they got to deal with and take all kinds of questions and calls from constituents. So, maybe there's a rationale for it, but some at the State House and the Republican side of the aisle say that it is part-time work and, they should not get that raise. What do you think? Should legislators get a raise? Good morning.
No, they should not. Put them on minimum wage, pay them when they're only working at the State House, and be done with it. Everybody knows it's a part-time job. Look at all the states around us. They don't make near as much as what they do here.
Yeah, and that was raised by State Representative McLaughlin talking about how, compared to other states, Illinois definitely pays its legislators very well. And then you also have the option of taking part in the legislator pension if you work enough years. And that could be a pretty nice pension, regardless of the fact that it's only 16% funded. It's probably the worst funded pension system in the country. But all that stacks up, and the taxpayers are footing the bill for it. Appreciate the calls, and we'll see exactly if the governor doesn't sign this bill, and if he's asked questions about why should lawmakers get a pay raise, and a variety of other questions about this budget. What other increases are there? Are there going to be increases to driving fees? Are there increases to how much it costs for you to get your driver's license renewed? What about the gas tax increase that's kicking in July 1st? Did they do anything to stay that, or the grocery tax? People are going to be expected to pay more for their groceries and for their gas, while inflation is still a major problem. So all of this is in the budget, of course, and we'll see what the governor does once it gets on his desk. I imagine he'll have a news conference with Democratic leaders, and they'll talk about their priorities in the budget and how they plan on advancing more of their priorities. All right, got to take a break. It is Springfield's Morning News, where we'll review some of the top issues that other state legislators, including here in Illinois, are tackling. So stay tuned for that. 8:49 now from Culver's West on Wabash.
Work with a team that cares about being the best part of the customer's day. Apply today at Culver's West on Wabash.
You hear a lot about influencers these days. Well, the personalities you hear on our radio stations have been influencing purchasing decisions at local businesses in Central Illinois long before it was a hot new marketing buzzword.
Hey, my name's Kyle Hutchinson. You can just call me Kyle. I am a lifelong Central Illinois resident, grew up and still call Chatham my home. I've been on these airwaves in some fashion for the last 12 years, and I would love to endorse your product, your service, your business. I'm just a mid-30s new dad who loves tinkering around the house, loves a good craft brew, a slice of pizza, and spending time with my family watching local sports and movies. I've endorsed everything from HVAC companies, gyms and fitness, home electronics, and a national cable company, and I'd love to support and endorse your business today.
Make a bigger impact with your marketing dollars and pair your business needs with the right local influencer and campaign strategy. Learn more about all of our local influencers and start the conversation today at MidwestFamilySPI.com. That's MidwestFamilySPI.com.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 7, Verlo to go. With Verlo's bed in a box, you can easily take a queen or king mattress, load it into your car, and be on your way. Easy peasy. If you live out of town and prefer to have it shipped, we can do that. The best part, you can try it before you buy it. Quick, convenient, comfortable. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Listen, at Verlo Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly on to you every day. So hurry in today to your local Verlo, where there are no middleman markups. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Lauterbach man here, planning my summer vacation. I use Niagara for a water slide. My roller coaster is the windy roads in the mountains. And for a bounce house, the tummy of a big old whale. But enough about my vacation. Let's talk about your vacation. I've been everywhere, man, and I would never think about hitting the road without having my superstar techs at Lauterbach Tire give my car the once-over. Why, they're so thorough, they'll give it a twice-over or thrice-over. It's like going to the doctor before you start a new exercise routine, or checking your parachute before you jump, or other things that are like preparing ahead of time. Don't go on a road trip without stopping by Lauterbach Tire first. For $25, they'll dig deep and make sure your car is good to go. Safe travels. Send me a postcard and bring me a spoon that says Kansas. Lauterbach man here at Lauterbach Tire. Drive safely and wear sunscreen now.
Unpunished crime. Do you wonder sometimes if you're next on a criminal's target list? It's hard to know the real answer, but it's easy to make sure that you and your family are more secure. Barcom Security protects by minimizing response times. When trouble strikes, you're backed up with a live person who takes your call 24 hours a day. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-990-3434. 800-990-3434. 800-990-3434.
Your invitation to summer has arrived with 50% off everything for a limited time through Memorial Day weekend at Banana Republic Factory. Think breezy dresses, linen suiting, and more polished, sun-ready styles. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
So Illinois is not the only states with legislative action this year. You've got even states that have a 2-year legislature, like Texas, where they only meet once every 2 years. They're advancing all kinds of stuff as well. Interesting to see some of the headlines out of Texas, especially with that alarming video of the Republican Speaker of the Texas House seeming to be just completely inebriated while he's conducting business. And then you had the Attorney General in Texas point that out and say that he should resign. And then all of a sudden what happens, the Texas House votes to impeach the Attorney General of Texas. So interesting to see all the happenings down there. But, when it comes to policy, just some of the headlines that my team from across the country with the Center Square put together, all the different states looking at adopting and advancing new gun legislation, including in Illinois. So it looks at Washington states, which they advanced a proposal and signed a bill that defined certain types of semi-automatic weapons as assault weapons. It's similar to what Illinois did during lame duck session in January, but you also had the Illinois General Assembly pass a bill that allows the Attorney General in Illinois to go after the gun industry for deceptive practices if the Attorney General sees fit. So interesting to see that bit. But you also had Colorado. They passed a bill with several gun restrictions, including a 3-day waiting period for purchases, raising the age to purchase to 21 years old. Whether or not that's going to stand, there's already lawsuits in federal courts challenging the federal limits to saying people under the age of 21 can't buy guns. You also had measures in Maryland and Hawaii Hawaii and Maine and Rhode Island, Tennessee, Pennsylvania. So if you get a chance, you might want to check that out at thecentersquare.com. Another issue that legislators are dealing with across the country, adapting to electric vehicles. Now, in Illinois, there was a bill that passed, and the governor is expected to sign it, that requires all state passenger vehicles that are held by state government, not by municipal governments, but by state government, not by county governments, but by state government. It requires that by 2030, all new passenger vehicles must be zero emissions. And that's a question that, people have of how is that going to be implemented? What's the actual cost going to be? Are there any concerns of, these batteries where it takes downright slave labor in third world countries to produce the minerals needed to make these batteries that might make people feel good about themselves driving around in an electric vehicle? But do they really see what happened when the process of mining those minerals was taking place? So again, some of the various states dealing with legislation to adapt to electric vehicles. California, last year they looked to phase out all gas-powered cars by 2035. Michigan lawmakers looking at $300 million for electric vehicle charging stations. There's also some states that have dealt with, for instance, the issue of subsidies for those who go out and purchase, or tax credits for those who go out and purchase electric vehicles. But you also have ESG investment standards being put onto legislators as well, including in the state of Illinois, where you had a bill that passed that essentially says you've got to divulge what your ESG, environmental, governance, and social investing standards are. If a manager of a publicly traded, publicly funded fund, like a pension fund, they have to divulge the ESG standards they're using to invest. People pushing back on that, saying there's no sign that ESG principles in investing increases the bottom line for those funds, which really should be the main goal of a fiduciary, to increase the bottom line of those funds. So legislators across the country dealing with all kinds of things. For Illinois, though, they're done. They're done for the rest of the year until the fall veto session. So we'll see what kinds of things they bring up during fall veto session, but they're off all summer. They might have some hearings here and there. They'll likely talk about pensions. They'll likely talk about, all the ribbon cuttings they're going to have for stuff that's paid for by the budget. So there's going to be a lot more to talk about. But here in this, the shadow of a late night budget deal that was passed at 2 or 3 in the morning in the House on a Saturday, heading into the Memorial Holiday weekend, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more to say about all of the $50+ billion in spending that was approved. All right, have yourselves a great day. Hopefully you enjoyed your Memorial Holiday weekend, but let's get back at it with this short holiday.
From the Fly SPI studio.